What's up, my friends in film fandom, wherever you may be and however you may be watching? Thank you so much for coming and checking us out tonight. Boy, talk about a divisive movie. There are a whole bunch of people here right now that are ready to just go to work on Halloween Ends. It was an ending. It was quite a movie. It was something that's going to spur a great amount of debate for fans, both casual and diehard. And boy, I've got the right group of people here to break it all down for you today. Starting with, back for the first time in a long time, is the Brooding Gamer. What's going on with you, brother?
Welcome to your show. Thank you for having me back.
Yeah, you're all decked out. You got the Jack Skellington. You got the pumpkin in the background. You're looking very festive. I even went a little dark mode tonight, hoping
I'd love to film with the Michael Myers out in my front yard, but it's cold and that motherfucker's too big to bring inside.
They were, and he kills people, so you probably don't want him in the
house.
No. Now here's the red. Now me and Brooding Gamer might find some good things to try to say about this movie. The rest of the people I'm introduced probably will not. We'll go ahead and go with the Shape from the Lone Star State. My man Tex, what's up, brother?
Evil dies tonight. I'm ready to slay this motherfucker. This son of a bitch is going down. I will be the Tommy Doyle of this podcast that gets everybody so angry that we just form a lynch mob and hunt this film down at anybody who had anything creative. David Gordon Green, Blumhouse, Jamie Lee Curtis, especially you. I'm coming after you later. Evil dies tonight. That's all I have to say.
A very outspoken, very boisterous person Tex is, obviously. Also somebody, our resident horror expert, my hetero life mate Jeremy, and we are joined also tonight by Rachel. What's going on with you folks tonight?
Hello.
What's up? Well,
it was a movie.
Things happened.
It was a movie.
Things happened. I don't feel like it was a Halloween movie. It didn't really feel like that. If you would have told me it was, I'd probably slap you in the face. But
I saw a pumpkin.
There was indeed a pumpkin.
There might have been,
There were multiple pumpkins. There was pumpkin after pumpkin after pumpkin.
The intro had some pumpkins. Yeah, that was.
Lots of people got killed. It was.
Not really.
Not a lot.
Not really.
Some people will tell you the only thing that got killed was their affection for this franchise.
Yeah.
But that that is what it is. But let's break down exactly what went on for Halloween Ends. Apparently, the end to the Laurie Strode franchise. Now, I'll put the thumbnail back up as I read you a brief synopsis, a little bit about the movie. Halloween Ends is, of course, a 2022 American slasher film that is the sequel to Halloween Kills, which came out in 2021. This is the 13th installment of the Halloween franchise and the final film in the trilogy of sequels that commenced with the 2018 film, which directly follows the 1978 film and disregards all other entries. It was directed by David Gordon Green and written by Green, as well as Danny McBride, Paul Brad Logan, and Chris Brenner. Film stars Jamie Lee Curtis, obviously, the titular role. Andy Matichak as her granddaughter, Rowan Campbell, Will Patton, Kyle Richards, and, of course, James Jude Courtney. And it marks the Curtis and Nick Castle's final appearances in the series. In the film, Laurie Strode and her granddaughter Allison confront the continued threat of Michael Myers and the ramifications that his attacks have wrought on the town and the citizens of Haddonfield. Filmed on a reported budget of about $30 million, the film has had a pretty good run in its opening weekend, taking in $41.8 million in the U.S. and $59 million worldwide, despite being released simultaneously on streaming services, on the streaming service Peacock, as well as in theaters. The film, however, has been divisive amongst some fans and critics. The film currently holds a 39.57 critic audience score on the review aggregate site Rotten Tomatoes, with a consensus review that reads, quote, Halloween ends, for now anyway, with a frequently befuddling installment that is stabbed, slashed, and beaten by a series of frustrating missed opportunities. And I think we're just going to go, I tell you what, I want to try to go to one of the more, maybe one of the more tempered opinions about the movie.
He's over there just like he's steaming.
No, please.
I want to make sure some of us who maybe didn't hate the movie as much as others get a chance to at least make their case. So we'll go ahead and start with the Brooding Gamer. You've seen the movie. What are some of your general thoughts about how it all went down?
I was there for 5 minutes. There were no dinosaurs. I left.
Oh no.
I mean, when I saw Tex's comments about the movie, I was like, okay, now I definitely need to see this.
Mm-hmm.
We actually given we saw it I don't know if my fiance hears me. She'll probably be like, yes, no, chiming in from the background. We were just getting back from Tennessee. We found out it was on Peacock, so we didn't actually pay a thing to see this, thank God.
Smart man.
Smart.
We almost went to a theater in Gatlinburg just to see it because we were like, okay, you know what? So the way I look at this is literally exactly what Jeremy said right before we started filming was it was a movie. If I went into it just, to me, it would make a good scary movie. Kind of. Wouldn't even make that. It'd make a good movie to watch if you're bored. If you are having a Halloween marathon, I would be going, Halloween, Halloween, Halloween Kills, and that's it. It is not a movie that I would put in the. I honestly think Halloween Kills was 10 times better of a movie than this. Just for the fact that Michael does what Michael does. He is a great white shark in a human body that just goes and does whatever it needs to do, which is kill, move on, kill, move on, kill.
Do you think maybe you could call it a great white sharkner? Shackner?
I'm done with you.
That's a stretch.
That was a reach, but I'll give it to you because this movie's dog crap, so I'll allow it. So.
Hey, if you can make a damn William Shatner mask scary for this long, I think you did something right.
I had so many moments where I'm like, all right, here we go. It's getting real. And then, like a really bad prom date, I was left just standing there like, that's it? What?
Been there.
Okay. And it was just like, because there's so many moments where they build up. You're like, here we go. This is happening. And then that's it. Okay, never mind. Moving on. I'm like, oh, okay, we're in the tunnel. We're going to see Michael. Nope, just his face partially, mainly his eyeball holes and his hand. And then we're moving on from there. We're back out seeing old man, creepy guy. And it was just, I don't know. There were so many missed opportunities. There's a whole... You get that whole scene where some of the it's very quick. They just kind of blow through it. And even some of the people that were the most annoying in the movie, you're like, okay, Michael needs to kill this person. He needs to kill him good. Because those are usually the ones that when, half the time it was like Michael saves some of his best kills for people who just didn't even matter, goes completely above and beyond. I'm looking at Halloween Kills for this one. Just obliterating human beings. But this one, it's not like, yeah, he stabs one really pervy cop a few times, and then all of a sudden he gets the jitters, and then he stands straight up. I'm like, are you fucking telling me we got the Energizer Bunny of Halloween? He needs to stab people to...
That's the scene where it looks like Michael Myers is coming in his pants. Go back and watch that scene and tell me he's not having an orgasm.
I love
That's what that scene is.
That might be quite literally what it is, man. Shit.
Yes.
Stabbing makes me feel good.
I wish I could have Haley. He had a lot of good comments. But just like, he does that, and then I look over to her, and she's like, did he really just get power from killing somebody? Like, are we really trying to look at the super side of that there?
I thought we did establish that, though. I noticed that, too.
That was in the last film.
Didn't Laurie say the more he kills, the more he transcends into evil?
Yes.
So
right.
I didn't really hate that part because I'm like, well, we're assuming he's been in this dingy little tunnel for like the past 4 years and probably hasn't had anything of real sustenance, so to speak, for killing. So I'm like, I'm okay with him kind of being a little weakened. He is also like 60-some years old, but he is probably not had a whole lot of action. So when he finally stabbed that dude and he kind of like, Stella got his groove back, I'm like, okay, he's getting there. I'm like, that might have been what that was. I'm like, okay, cool. Are we going to go now? No, we're not. I'm like, okay. Well,
look at it. Okay.
And then takes his mask, and then I'm just like,
oh, God. Oh, my God.
Well, see, and then like you said again,
Michael, and he starts tackling him, and I'm like, and we're just, anybody feel like this man's robbing an old man, like literally like robbing an old man?
He might have been.
Actually, I have the line that he says in that scene. Let me get to it here. Give me the mask. Give me the mask. You're just a man. Okay, we're talking about the shape, the the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes, evil incarnate, the man that Dr. Loomis tried to keep, or the child that Dr. Loomis tried to keep locked up in Smith's Grove all of those years because he knew what it was. By the end of the story, you're just an old man. Give me your mask. This is what we have devolved to.
Exactly.
Why? Somebody explain.
Lori even tried to do it too. She's like, "Well, you're just a man. You're still gonna." It is the Predator joke, right? Where it's like, if it bleeds, you can. If it
bleeds, we can kill it. Yeah.
I'm like, yes, but this is a incarnation of pure evil. So good luck with that, though. I mean,
well, let's just look at Michael Myers just in this new trilogy from Halloween 18 to Ends. Okay, I'm not looking at the original, just these three. When we first see Michael Myers, he's been locked up for 40 years almost in Smith's Grove Sanitarium. As far as we know, he hasn't killed anybody, and he seems to look just fine when he's standing there in that little checkerboard area all cuffed up, right? Mm-hmm. Then he gets out, he kills a whole bunch of people in Halloween 18. And then once we get into kills, he kills like 40 people die, right? So he's basically, I mean, he's on God level at this point. He should, how long does, okay, this Ends takes place 4 years after Kills. So is it like 10 year or a year for every 10 people you kill or something like this? Like what's the equation of how many people do I have to slay to recharge my batteries here?
I don't know because video game stats are for this.
Right. What's the Grand Theft Auto kill level that we need to operate on here?
You're on 1 star.
He was on 1 star again, yeah.
The Blumhouse trilogy is a story of inconsistency. First of all, this is the twilight of the Halloween films. If you look at Allison and Corey, what's the two characters from Twilight, the vampire and the chick? What's their names?
Edward and Bella.
They are the Edward and Bella of the Halloween universe. Go back and watch Halloween Ends and tell me you can't see that storyline because that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, I can't unsee that now that you've said it. Also,
that's what I'm saying. It is there.
It
is there.
Sparkle.
Well, but before I let you guys tear up this movie too much, I want to get a few things in there.
I didn't even get to say anything yet.
Look, I have been reading our Twitter room for the last couple of days, and it has been busier since this movie came out, and these guys have seen it, than it has probably ever been since like 1,000 years ago. So, but okay, so let me get a few things out there real quick. Number one, here's a couple of things I didn't like. I absolutely hated Allison's character for this entire film. Same. I wanted something from her that I was really hoping they would give us. I wanted her to be the one person who kept perspective and did not fall apart. Mm-hmm. And from the opening scene, she's a broken person, and I was like, well, Laurie's already broken. That's part of Laurie's character. It's like she experiences what she experiences back in the 70s when this whole thing first started. From then on, she's broken. We understand that. And we would kind of understand it from Allison, except for we need someone to be that one person who can keep things in a proper perspective and keep Laurie from really going off the deep end and having her character go awry. She seemed to kind of do that in the second movie. Did not do it at all here. I don't understand for the life of me why the moment she lays eyes on that Corey kid, she falls in love with him. That to me was something.
That's the Twilight.
That is something that a 14-year-old girl would do, not a girl who's 20-something years old now. It's been 4 years since all this. She's got a job, whatever. Her and Laurie are in the beginning of the movie anyway, living this kind of happier life. They just kind of like let go of it all, well, for the most part, as much as you can, I guess. And I wanted her to kind of be the one thing that grounded all of this, and she hadn't. Mm-hmm. She was none of that this entire film. Her character arc for this film was just absolute shit, in my opinion. I still like the actress. I still like the character. How they did her character was just wrong, in my opinion.
I don't know who I was supposed to be rooting for this movie. I'm like, am I supposed to be rooting for Corey, I guess? Maybe Michael, but I'm like, we're not going to get that, so...
I think you're rooting for this movie to end.
I know, but I was like, I don't know who I was supposed to be like, okay.
In the first act of the movie, I feel like I was rooting for Allison and Corey, but I am also kind of a sap. I love a good underdog romance story. That's just something that I like. And I'm like, this is going to end terribly, which I also like usually. Like that never ever ends up how it's supposed to. I mean,
it's a horror movie too, which is going to make the happy ending a lot more.
And I'm like, where are we going? Where is this going? And it felt, that first act I liked, but then it was like, what is happening after that?
I think I was seriously drug out through that first part of the movie. I'm like, what are we doing?
I mean, I enjoyed it, but I'm like, something bad's going to happen. This is a Halloween movie. When is it happening?
It was looming, but I was kind of like,
it took forever to get to the point.
Yeah, the first act I think should have gotten to it a little bit faster. I mean,
Yeah,
because
it's too
it's
long.
not like this was a brand new circumstance and world that we've never existed in before. We've all been around Haddonfield for 40 years, so we know 40 something years. So we know what's going on here. We know Mike. We know the players. We know the game. It's get to it. You know, let's play ball. And there was too much exposition early. I mean, I got over it in the end, but it's like it should have jumped into the action a little quicker, in my opinion.
And when it felt like it tried to, when it kind of left turn into like they showed us the fact that one lady actually lived, that Michael, that Michael tried to kill from the last movie. I was like, oh shit,
the woman that got stabbed in the neck with the light tube.
Yeah. I was like, oh shit, and then it was just
all that, and I shut the door on the dog's tail because I was like, what?
I mean, that was like that was an oh shit. And I'm like, oh, okay, here we go. But I'm like, this feels kind of like a hey, we had a nice sweet moment with her and the other cop, which I'm like, okay, cool, whatever, another love story, whatever, it's adorable. And then all of a sudden, she just like, it's your fault, Laurie Strode. I'm like, are we doing this now? I was like, damn, that felt a little awkward, but okay. And I was like, oh shit, she's alive. That's a fucking big point.
And then nothing happened.
And then they're like, cool. Anyway, moving on. I'm like,
very sad. Anyway,
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I'm like, when they were showing memes, I'm like, I need to make a meme. I need to have one of Laurie from the last movie at the beginning where she's like screaming at the cops, you know, like, or the firefighters, where she's like crying. I was like, Laurie for the past 40 years when her friends got killed, like screaming like that. It's like her 4 years later after her daughter gets killed. Yeah, very sad. Anyway,
yeah,
that just seemed like we just went right over that. I'm like,
seriously,
right.
like, hang on, that's a huge point here.
Yeah.
3 of your friends got killed, and for 40 years, you had your kid took away from you, failed relationships. It ruined your life. And in 4 years, your daughter,
you were ready for it. And then,
your daughter and her husband, the parents of your granddaughter that you now take care of, get killed, and whatever, hell with them. They never mattered. Let's just move on and go carve pumpkins. Seriously?
and burn a pie, apparently.
Burn a pie.
Right.
See, well, I thought that was kind of funny, but then I'm like, what was it? Right after? No, I think it's after she met Corey. And then it was like, I don't know. I'm like, I think you even looked at me like, what the fuck? Like, okay, Jamie Lee, you need to calm down. And she's like, you just need to find somebody that makes you want to rip your shirt out, pull your tits out, and be like, let's go. I'm like,
and then she drops part of the pumpkin on the ground.
I was like, chill. And I was like, boom, there it is.
That?
Now we've established Allison's entire fucking character for the rest of the movie. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Allison's horny. That was her whole character. Allison's
and that's
horny.
what I don't understand. Why is she suddenly just like now like that, having this weird angsty, rebellious, screw you, grandma, you're ruining my life now. I'm like, you're not even a teenager. She's like 4 years removed from this shit. And she has a job at like a fucking, she's like a nurse aide or something. I'm like,
yeah, she's a nurse. Yeah.
At a job where I'm like, that takes a little, you're not even a kid. You're not in high school anymore. So I don't really understand why all this is coming out now or what prompted. I don't know.
If your mother, brought home a person of the opposite sex and introduced you to this person, would you automatically want to hump them? Because I don't think if my mother did that with me, I would ever have that emotion. I would be like, yeah, no, this is not good.
I certainly wouldn't make it so obvious from the jump.
Right. That's what
take me on a few dates first. Damn.
Yeah.
I mean, she was half naked by the time she first saw him. She goes, okay, well, we're doing this thing. I mean, it's just, and see, that's another thing. The Rob Zombie Halloween films are my favorite of the franchise, and they get crapped on tremendously. And in Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, his version of Laurie was very much like this, and everybody hated her. Oh, that's not Laurie Strode. That's not what Laurie would do. Well, apparently it's okay for her granddaughter in a different version of the story to do the exact same thing. Yeah. And everybody gives it a pass. It makes no sense.
You can do I get it. That's a staple slasher movies. You got gratuitous nudity and you got horny teens trying to have sex. I'm like, yes.
They didn't even have nudity.
Well, no, but I mean, like, I'm not even worried about that right now. I'm just like, you can do the horny teen thing, but I'm like, they're not even teens. And also, it didn't really seem like this is couple number 3 and they're going to get stabbed in the neck by Jason. He's going to throw a mache at their face. I don't know.
He's
gonna stab an arrow through Kevin Bacon's neck. I'm like, cool, but like,
let me tell you something else I didn't like. I really like Will Patton as an actor. He's been one of my
Oh
favorite
yes,
actors for a long time.
yes.
He's in this movie for about 35 seconds.
Yeah.
I mean, there's the scene in the grocery store, which I thought was a nice scene between him and Lori, and then he shows up at the very end.
I like
for that nice little moment, and I like those moments that he was in. But he's a significant player to this entire storyline. He was the rookie of the night. All that shit went down in 70.
Yeah, it's like they kind of forgot. Like, oh yeah, he's important. They did it with the sheriff too. Like, oh crap, he just got in the movie.
He's in so much of the first two films as a significant person, but now he's just like, we just don't want him in this movie anymore. But he's important to what's happening in this world. Yeah. Why not use him more? Yeah, I don't know if it explicitly says it like in the movie, but I think he's kind of like either retired or semi-retired. He talks about making some food to take down to the guys at the station house and yada yada yada. But it doesn't sound like he's really involved in law enforcement in the town anymore. But he still could be involved with them somehow.
He should have been the sheriff of this entire trilogy.
Well, you think Lori would have turned to him at some point over the course of this as the shit started to pop off, as being one of the few people around that actually understands the situation that they find themselves in.
I felt like towards the end of this movie just became a big like, oh shit, we have characters we need to throw back into this.
Wait, we have a movie to make still. Shit.
Bring in Sheriff. Yeah, he exists. Bring in Julian, that annoying little kid next door. Like, he's in there for like literally just a scene of him walking, which I made a joke when we were watching. I looked over at my mom and it's like, Mom, I know we got school tomorrow, but can I go watch them throw a dead man's body into a meat grinder? Like, did he just get up and go, I'm going to watch this?
It's like old time stoning.
Yeah, it was like everybody just kind of became zombies as they watched. Yeah. I did that. I had to admit, I did like that part where they're like, this isn't how we do this. And the sheriff's like, it is tonight. I'm like,
that's what I'm saying. It's like they forgot the damn sheriff was a character and they gave him one line. He's like, oh yeah, we're doing it tonight. I'm like, where were you, man?
Well,
the character of Sheriff Barker is the most he is the most useless cop in horror, period. Sheriff Barker sucks. And it's not the actor, because what's happening online now, if you criticize this guy, it's because he's a black guy. No, it's because he's a garbage character that does nothing. If you go back to him in Halloween Kills in the hospital scene, he gets talked down. He got overtaken. Mm-hmm. You have Will Patton, one of the greatest character actors of all time, from Armageddon to 1,000 other movies. And he was the cop in the original, or in the flashback scene for the original movie, right? Which is older than Sheriff Barker. Why was he not your sheriff? He's a recognizable name. He should have been a mainstay in these films. It's ridiculous.
Did you guys realize they don't mention Tommy? They don't mention the original officer. It's just like they don't even mention the massacre, other than the fact that Karen died. And I had to say, I did like her character in the.
You see Karen's picture like twice in this movie, and that's all she gets.
And then they did like a little nod to the two girls from the first movie with Lori.
Her friends,
Yeah, which I'm telling you, while we were in Gatlinburg, I shit you guys not, they played Halloween every single night on AMC. It was Walking Dead, and
they were doing that.
Cabin, you would.
It's Fear Fest.
Yes, sir.
You would hear that like that noise. But we go through the whole movie, and I realized they didn't mention it once. They didn't mention Tommy Doyle. They didn't mention the sheriff. I'm like, these are people who are supposed to be extremely important. We don't mention them. We don't even mention, like Lori. She could have, as she was nailing each knife into his hand, she could have been like, "This is for Tommy." Boom. This is. She didn't. She's just stabbing him into his hands. And I'm like, you're missing chances here, guys. These are serious fucking characters. And you haven't brought them up once. There's not even a memorial, not a picture. It's just, they're dead.
This movie is a 90-minute anthology film that's masqueraded as the end of the Michael and Lori story. And then they give you about 10 minutes of Michael and Lori at the very end. That's what this movie is. This was completely to build up the Corey character. They give him the whole movie. And then what is his ending? he pushes the door open. Laurie puts 2 in the chest, and then he kills himself with a knife because if I can't have her, nobody else can. So he kills himself. So the big bully bad guy, the new Michael Myers, who gets picked on by band nerds when he's a grown man, kills himself because he can't have his girlfriend because her grandma said so. That's your new boogeyman? Is that the best you millennial weirdos can put up with these days? This is what you find scary? It's ridiculous. It's a joke.
Michael touching his face and like holding it there, and I was like,
right.
I was like, oh, he's gonna crush his head. I'm like, just watch.
I was waiting for it.
I was waiting for him to like get down and be like, don't touch my stuff, crack.
Well, because that was another point that I thought, I'm like, okay, we have another interesting plot development here. He didn't kill Corey. I'm like, yeah, why didn't he kill him? I was like, wait a minute.
Right.
Because, I mean, now, stupidly, because Corey is kind of an idiot, when he went to Allison, I mean, I know he was trying to process it. He was like, wait, so did, yes, thank you for that graphic. Hey, there we go. He said, like, wait, so did you escape Michael or did he let you go? Because I'm like, yeah, that'd be a question I'd be wondering, but I'm also like, maybe mention, oh, yeah, by the way, guys, I saw Michael Myers down in the sewer today.
Right, that would have been helpful.
That would have been fucking front page news. Damn. I mean, maybe coming from the guy who apparently may or may not, and according to the town, killed a kid. It's like, okay.
Like, why would you be wanting to be in a relationship with the granddaughter of Laurie Strode, see Michael Myers, and then just not say anything? Like, even from a character arc point of view, that doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense if you're trying to, you know, oh, I want to be with this girl, and there's a significant past, and it's like she's eventually going to find out you saw him, and she's not going to be happy about it. Like, what were you?
Well, she really seemed to care. They both kind of had the idea of like, fuck this town. I don't want to be here. It sucks. I'm like,
I want to,
I know. I wouldn't be fucking with him either, but.
This whole movie, okay. The original Halloween Ends was going to be a third film on the same night as 18 and Kills. That was the plan. That was the plan going into it. But once all this lockdown stuff happened, all these bright Hollywood writers with their great ideas went, we have a better idea. Let's do this story. And Halloween Ends is the film that you got from it. So
well, I think a lot of that also was impacted by the fact that the box office didn't quite do what they wanted to do for the second movie for Kills.
Maybe.
For a couple reasons. For a couple reasons. I mean, one was because, you know, the day and date release on streaming service, which, you know, I hate that anyway.
Right.
I've bitched about that endlessly. So, and because of that, that and a bunch of other things, pandemic, whatever, a bunch of other issues, they decided to change things up. Like I said, I like the idea of having all three of these movies take place over the course of like 24 or 36 hours.
Nice.
Because one of the things I feel like that would have done is if you would have sat and binge watched all three of these movies, maybe even all four of them, going back to the original.
It'd be fun.
The one that was less liked in Halloween Kills probably would have fit a little better if you could see it all in one big piece, one big tapestry, instead of just section by section. But they kind of took themselves out of the running for that by setting this thing 4 years in the past. Another thing I didn't like is Laurie, she's not supposed to get better. She's supposed to always be broken. The fact that she was trying to play decent grandma and bake pies and be happy and shit, I'm like, that's not honest for the character to me. Look, I said it 100 times. What I wanted out of this movie, out of the ending, is I wanted everybody to die at the end. I figured that Allison was going to get killed at some point in the second act, and that Laurie was going to decide, you know what, if this is going to end, all of us are going to have to end. Everybody that is really tied into this whole thing needs to go down. And then at the end of the movie, it would have been her like Ripley throwing herself into the lava to kill the last alien at the end of one of the Alien movies. They would have been fighting over that thing in the junkyard, and she just said, you know what, let's go. She throws them both into the thing, and then all you see out the other end is just red, blood and spit and ass coming out of the thing, and then it's all done. He's done, she's done, the whole thing's done. The town kind of like moves on from it all, and then that's it. I don't like the fact that she ends up kind of okay in the end. I feel like that's a disservice to the character.
I thought
I'll tell you the worst part.
I was just gonna say, I thought at the end of the movie, Michael goes into the car shredder thingy. I don't know the technical term for that thing. I thought what was going to happen at the very end, I thought we were going to see Michael, because she was standing right there. I thought we were going to see Michael stand, grab her anchor, and yank her in.
That would have been
cool.
Yeah.
That would have been a great ending. That would have saved at least some of this, in my opinion.
To be honest,
that's what I thought was going to happen. I was sitting there bracing myself for it, and then it just didn't happen.
To be honest, when she was standing up there, I thought she was standing on it, like some weird kind of.
So did I.
All right, go down.
Right, goodbye.
She was gonna do the Terminator thing. You're just gonna see her like, and she goes down. That would have been sweet.
Well, that's the whole thing. We've had since Halloween 18 kills to ends. What has Laurie been saying? Maybe for him to die. Well, besides that.
Right.
For him to die, maybe I have to die too. We've had 3 movies worth of this. And that exact scene that y'all were just talking about, whenever they put him in that mangler thing, the car shredder, whatever. I call it a mangler just because it sounds cool. Whatever.
The Michael Mangler?
Michael Mangler. I like that.
Not to mention, they have Michael in the crucifix position like he's Jesus, carrying him into the thing. You see Laurie climb in. I'm hating this movie to this point, but I'm like, okay, if Laurie sacrifices herself, I will forgive everything. I will like this movie. I will forgive it and praise it. And you see Allison with that sad look on her face flip the switch. And you don't see how close Laurie is to the actual gears on that machine. And then we just see, bloop, she pushes him in and he gets torn apart like cheap, pinata. And movie's over. Laurie goes home and everybody's happy and blah, 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 blah.
There will be
I hate this film.
There will be a deleted scene for the Blu-ray release. It is just post-credit, a little finger dragging itself.
We didn't know Michael Myers is like the Iron Giant. All of a sudden he just like comes back together and then there he is.
Hey, Deadpool.
For any of you Buffy the Vampire Slayer fans, if you ever saw the thing with the zombie or the mummy hand where it had tongs and it was like moving around like a crab with these tongs, that's all we could think.
Wait. Maybe this ties into the Addams family. Maybe Thing is really just Michael Myers' hand.
Thing is just Adam.
Go.
Great crossover. Hey,
you want this anthology bullshit? There you go.
There was a couple things in this movie that I was like, I like how they did that. Because I'm trying to find something positive about this. Michael was in it. Yay.
Kind of.
Mikey appeared.
Actually, no, you know what? Michael was in it. Nick Castle was the guy that flashed in the. That was cool.
See anything you like?
Yeah, I was like, hey, there he is. I knew it.
But there was like 2 things in the movie that I really liked. And one of them being when Michael has her by the throat, it's going through. They had the music, I have to say, the score for this movie was fantastic. I've never been disappointed with the score.
It's John Carpenter music. It's going to be good.
Yeah. So, but when he's got her, I don't do things with hands, and seeing like what was it, Evil Dead, where they take the crowbar and he puts his hand up and it splits his hand in half. So when Michael rips his hand from the knife and you see it just split, I'm like, nope, we're done there. Flashbacks from
that means that scene worked, though. If it tweaked you like that, that means that scene worked.
Right.
Yeah, dude, eyeballs, ass, and split parts. I don't do shit for it.
Lloyd should have stabbed it in the ass. Damn.
Hanging out. I'm like, we're gonna have to kill it. No. But when he's got her by the throat, and we thought she was gonna die there. I thought, Allison's gonna run in and see Laurie dead with Michael dead, and that would have been a good shot, in my opinion. But they're showing flashbacks from the first movie with this 4-movie anthology or whatever. Just all the different scenes and the important people, the important things. I thought that was cool. I did enjoy that. But there was what was it? They kind of just show, like, I got excited because, there was this whole thing talking about, was Corey really, did the town do this to Corey, or was there always a little bit of Corey like this already? They started going around and asking people, they started trying to dig into Corey's backstory a little bit. And I was like, okay, man, I think there's something here. But then they end up like, because the movie trailer, if you think back, the movie trailer really fucked up a lot. They showed way too much. So when I'm sitting there in the theater, in my living room watching this, and I see Michael killing all these people, and I mean, he's brutalizing these people. Like, it's like, I've been asleep for 4 years, so I'm really going to fuck some people up. Just to go in and watch the movie and realize it's not even him. The most brutal kills are all from a poser. And then Michael is just like, well, you've done all the work for me, so I'm just going to go ahead and finish it up. I'm like, so when you've got his mask laying on the ground and then you just see his hand pick it up, that's the part where I'm supposed to be like, yeah, here we go. And all I was like, took you fucking long enough. Like, I wasn't even excited at that point. By the time you really get to see Michael do what Michael does, it's just like, I expected a great white shark and I got a fucking nurse shark. I didn't get what I wanted. I didn't get.
Well, one of the coolest kills I thought, or at least I thought was going to be kind of cool, was I was like, oh shit, when he turned on that fucking blowtorch and he was going to torch that dude's face, I was like, yeah, and then they just blurted out and like focused on the girl.
Yeah, they just cut away.
Her like freaking out. I'm like, I don't care. Go back.
Well,
you just showed him. You just showed him with a guy whose tongue was spitting on a damn DJ table.
That was cool.
Which was the coolest one and hilarious. To that, I'm like, come on.
I was actually talking to Nick from Lost River Drive-In the other night before I'd seen the movie, and he said I laughed audibly in the middle of the theater. Everybody thought I was crazy at this one particular kill. I'm not going to tell you which one it is. He's like, but when you watch the movie, you'll call me, let me know. So I'm watching the movie, and then as soon as that happened, I texted him. I was like, it was when the guy got his tongue cut out, wasn't it? He goes, dude, I laughed so fucking hard in the movie. Everybody turned around and looked at me like it was weird.
It's a good thing there was only 3 of us in our theater.
Yeah,
it was you and me and one other woman.
One other person that was sick.
I laughed.
But here's why I kind of like that kill where he uses the blowtorch in the guy's face. It wasn't about the guy getting the blowtorch to the face, which, look, I know they kind of like, they dropped focus to the background to show her, but it's like you can still see and you know what's happening, and that was fucking vicious enough as it was. But the thing is, it's gonna build more tension if you're seeing her reaction to it than it would be if you're just showing him get his face blowtorched. So you're building your own fear.
It doesn't give me a reaction. I'm just kind of like, oh well, never mind.
Yeah, but we watch this kind of shit all the time. We're desensitized to it.
That's what I want to see. I laugh too because I'm a fucking weirdo. Like,
if I'm going to a slasher movie, show me the kill. Don't tell me about it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's my whole thing.
Best character in this entire movie, though, I had to say, was the stepdad Ronald, or his actual dad. Every time he's in a shot, there's something good happening. Like that lady, Corey's mom. No wonder that kid had evil in his fucking body. Like, what the fuck?
But
she kissed him on the mouth.
She did. She smacks him, kisses him on the, and then you just pan over to Ronald, who's leaning back with his beard. He's just like,
it's like, man, live your life.
He's got his headphones on, watching an action movie over in the corner or something.
Right.
Dead face. As like this, there is no life left in this man's soul. He's just, and I lost it. I was like, I want this. But then when he's there and he grabs the gun, I'm like, now there's no way he's gonna kill Ronald, because this is the only man. Before I knew this was his dad or stepdad, because I was like, oh well, at least this man, when he gets the bike, I felt bad for Corey. I did. It was an accident, and I am sorry, but they played this off too fucking much. This everybody in this town literally hates this fucking dude. If that's the case, fucking move. Get your husband, get your wife, get your kid. You're just gonna let your fucking kid live in. I mean, I don't think the mother, what the fuck was happening in her goddamn head, but
just about mommy issues.
Say that's a Nora Bates type shit.
Mommy issues.
And her death you don't even fucking see either. Like, of course you want Michael to kill her, but instead it's him. And then he pulls up the knife, and then it's like, well, he stabbed her. You know, you guys get it, right? He stabs her. No fucking shit, he stabs her. We still want to see it because we hate her.
Also, I knew, I'm like, oh, it's like with any horror movie. It's like he said, I was like, you know what? The dad was probably the best character. He's that nice little comic relief. He's just straight face delivers his line, and it's hilarious.
I feel sorry for him more than any other character.
I know. I'm like, that's what I'm saying. And I'm like, it was like when we watched the I don't even know what these movies are fucking called anymore. I guess sequel of a sequel to fucking Texas Chainsaw.
Oh yeah, the one on Netflix.
Yeah, I was like,
newest one.
Yeah, I was like the redneck dude who like was in the town before there. I was like, I was like, oh, okay, he's an asshole. I'm like, but then you start to see him like, he's not really a bad guy. He's actually kind of cool. And then I'm
he
like,
should have been a Sawyer. The fact that he wasn't a Sawyer pissed me off.
That would have been cool. But I was like, no, I'm like, but watching this character, I'm like, he geared the fuck up and he went in there. I'm like, he's gonna die, isn't he? I love this character. He's gonna die. Same with the dad. I'm like, he's gonna fucking die, isn't he? But also, I'm like, who is that dumb? Why? I'm like, you stood straight up and then boom, got shot. I'm like, really?
I was expecting him to get up close and personal. Like, I keep wanting to say Michael, and that's what pisses me off. Is they the best kill, even him. But he's like going down the line, and I have to admit, the deaths, I loved every death. That sounds pretty fucked up, but then again, I laughed at a man's tongue getting cut off.
We all laughed.
No, the best part was when the needle on the record.
Yeah, the needle
bouncing over his tongue.
And you just hear her on the radio like, "That's messed up." Turns it off. I'm like, that's funny.
If only you knew.
Every time like a radio station skips out now, I'm just gonna be thinking of that. Like, oh crap.
Fully expecting him to go up to Ronald, like, I don't know, grab him by the throat or whatever. And just kind of like, I was like, don't kill him. You're not going to kill one of the few people who's actually made you feel like you're human. And just kind of like walk away and leave him sitting there like, what the fuck just happened? But of course you get douchebag. He reminds me so much of the lead basketball kid from Stranger Things. Like, I just fucking hated him. And his death, I was like, all right, whatever. All this whole movie was like that when I saw him. But then again, I've never seen a group of band kids. Oh no, I don't know. The one kid with the fucking mullet with the drumstick in his eyeball. That was. I was like, there we go. You need.
But here's the thing, though, with everything that y'all are describing, the one thing that none of you said was this felt like a Halloween film. No, because it wasn't a Halloween movie. This was Christine with Michael Myers and a copycat in it. This is what this film is. It was a bait and switch.
You even had the same damn last name as him. Like, you didn't even try to make it different. Like,
it was a really, really close comparison in a lot of ways.
He even worked in a damn
literally
junkyard. That scene where the car turns on and the headlights come on, I'm like, that is Christine straight up. When I mean, you know what? I didn't even realize that until just now. That girl was like bigger in stature. I'm like, that's like when you chase the fat guy down the street. I'm like, oh my god, it's the same damn thing.
I said this before we went live, but it's worth repeating here again. When David Gordon Green was writing this film, he took the script to John Carpenter to ask, hey, is this too much Christine? And that leaked out into the press, and everybody's like, what is like, people were making whole YouTube videos about this. Like, how do you make Halloween into Christine? Well, they showed us how because we just saw it. Mm-hmm. And it's, you know, this movie, the Corey Cunningham. What's that?
You people are making me drink.
We already are drinking. No, you should have had like at least one scene where, for some reason, Corey's just on fire, just walking at them, just like the whole when the car was on fire, chasing the guy down the street.
See, you should have done that. And therein lies my problem. I am not against making a story about the Corey Cunningham character. I think there's a good movie or Netflix series to be had here. But you promised us. They promised us the end of the 1978 storyline, which we've all been wanting for years. And you sacrificed that. You did a bait and switch on us and gave us a 90-minute Corey story with 10 minutes of a completely emasculated Michael Myers, who's supposed to be the big boogeyman. And they could have held on to this Corey Cunningham deal and done it afterwards. I would have paid for it. I would have been there opening day. I don't need to see a trailer. If it was the next Halloween anthology, you know, the next season of The Witch, whatever, fans would have been there. But you sacrificed the greatest story in horror of all time, the Michael Myers story, for Corey Cunningham to go nowhere. So what did anybody gain out of this? Yeah, this movie's not going to be well received.
Yeah, I'm like, just go ahead and do it then. Like I said, even if you did – because I said, like, I didn't notice that. I thought, like, maybe that story kind of got thrown under the bus when, like, I thought maybe there was some reaon why Michael didn't kill Corey. I was like, okay, this is interesting.
I have one idea. I have one idea that I think could have made this movie work. And I've seen this movie 5 times now. I have studied this thing like I'm Charlie Day from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
You are a stronger man than me.
You've got the mail room stuff behind you.
I've got the pinpoints. I've got it all.
He hated one idea out of this movie.
Could have made this better. have Michael Myers be already dead in this film. He died off. No, just hang out. Listen.
Hear me out.
Michael Myers is never actually in this film. We have the only person who sees him is the Corey character. Why? Because Corey accidentally kills the kid. It sets him off. He's already a little bit crazy, right? He's got all the troubles. The town hates him. He happens to walk into the sewer one day, and Michael Myers' mask just happens to be laying there.
He didn't.
But in his own head,
he sees Myers. Sewer. He gets bullied by the
I
band.
know. I know. That's what I'm saying.
Bridge. It wasn't like he was wandering around under a bridge and stumbles across his.
Okay, well, you can still have the bridge scene. You can have those kids on the bridge throw him off, and to mend his wounds, he goes in there to sit down or something, and he happens to find the Myers mask, and he wants revenge. And you play it as if he thinks Myers is alive. Nobody else has seen him in 4 years, so we can't confirm if he's dead or alive or not. And you can play it off as the Corey Cunningham movie if you want to, and it plays a little bit better than what we got with completely emasculating the shape here. Nobody wants that.
Yeah, but
it can be done.
He's too big a character to kill off screen, though.
I feel like you'd still want to know what happened. Maybe.
But that
you know what? No.
Okay. He doesn't have to be dead. He just walked off into the ether, just like the end of the 78 film.
No, what maybe he should have done is, like, since we want to do these weird little flashbacks when we touch an item, maybe when he picks up Michael's mask, all of a sudden he starts seeing what happened to him and then why it got
there. Yeah, I can work with that.
That could have been your filler for it.
I can work with that.
No, what I think I mean, because I said this in our chat, and I said, well, I was talking to Tex about it. What we should have done, if you still want to commit to this, I didn't notice that. I thought that storyline went out of the water when all of a sudden he was like grabbing onto Corey's face. I'm like, oh crap, is he going to kill him now? I'm like, well, why then? Wait, what? I didn't realize that was when I guess he kind of got possessed a little bit, just a little bit more. I'm like, okay, so now he has that evil in him.
Right.
Now, because I was like, I don't know how. I mean, even back then in '98, when we were like, okay, we did H2O, we literally just lopped Michael's head off. I'm like, there you go, that's it. And they're like, JK, resurrection. I'm like,
it was the ambulance driver the whole time.
Yeah, I'm like, how do you explain that? Like, that seems cheap because I'm like, you mincemeated Michael Myers. I don't know how you explain that unless like Bernie Gamer said, like his little finger just crawls across the screen or something.
His head would have rolling.
Yeah. But like, so now that he's been mincemeated, like I said, my Walking Dead senses were tingling. I'm like, okay, we didn't see a body. What happened to Corey? You had this little Jesus Myers going down the road and put him in the thing. I'm like, now wait a minute, nothing. You didn't see what followed up with Corey. If now that evil, because I mean, we can accept the whole weird, kind of like the Jason Goes to Hell thing, like where he possesses people, the evil of his spirit. Hold on now, and that's a weird movie. But it's the same. But trust me, that's the same vein. You just made that disgusted sound because that was a weird movie. He wasn't in the movie, but people he was possessing was through him.
The difference in Jason Goes to Hell and my film is Jason's not inhabiting person to person with some snake monster. This is just this is all already in Corey's head. This isn't Michael actually inhabiting him. This is Corey himself. Well, yeah. So he's kind of stealing Michael's MO, not becoming him. And I wouldn't have even had him wear the Myers mask. That scarecrow mask that he wears in this film is awesome. That was a scary mask, and it plays well.
That's what I was saying they should have maybe done then, is like maybe finally now that Michael, like I guess that could be like your vessel for his evil. Now that it's gone, his evil could have possessed Corey right then. That all of a sudden just zapped right into him. And like we said, we've seen Michael stabbed, shot, dropped, blown up, set on fire. Nothing phases this dude. And we're just like, oh my God, because he's just evil. It's just that simple. It's like, you don't really have to have an explanation for it. So even though we just saw him just yoink that knife into his fucking neck and he got shot by Laurie even. If that moment, you had that weird moment where he dies and all of a sudden he possesses Corey's body to its fullest. I swear to you, if that would have been the coolest ending scene, if you just saw like Corey just sit up at the end and kind of do that little head tilt towards the camera, Like, there you go. There, see,
He actually kind of
There's your
does that.
movie.
Did you get that visual cue when they were on the roof of the radio station, and then he jumped down and he was laying on the ground, and he actually sat
Oh, he
straight
sat
up.
straight
He's like,
up,
yeah.
Yeah.
well, I thought that was,
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was the whole point. It was like, because she's like, "Are you crazy?" I'm like, "Yeah, he just jumped off a fucking building. It doesn't hurt him." I'm like, we're getting that sense that he doesn't feel any of the pain either. So I'm like, now if that had now finally fully possessed him, there's your end, and there's your setup for Corey, and you still could have made that work. That would have been a fucking banger of an ending. When Nick said, I could have forgiven it if he just sat up and turned to the camera a little bit, and that was it. And now he's Michael Myers.
The Corey character, like I said, I don't think there's going to be a sequel to this film. Is it possible? Sure. Blumhouse could negotiate with Malek Akkad and get rights to make sequels to this movie. And it's just, Jeremy, it's like you and I discussed on, the chat earlier. I said, Corey and Allison did sleep together. You could set this thing 7 years in the future, and Allison could have had a child from it. They didn't ever find Corey's body after the house, and you could do a Halloween 4 with Danielle Harris's role of Jamie, where now have him in the Scarecrow mask because he got that mask from Allison to make it more personal, and have Corey in the Scarecrow mask going after his former lover and their loved child. That can be your new Halloween anthology going forward. Has nothing to do with Michael Myers. He's dead, buried. We don't have to see Laurie, anybody else ever again. We can just go on.
I think you'd have to see Laurie, because if she's in the universe, they're going to demand that she's in there in some capacity.
She could have a cameo, but the movie wouldn't be about her. That's my point.
She's walking in the cherry blossoms, whatever the fuck that was about.
Yeah, they're in the cherry blossoms.
That's why I would say just reboot this entire damn thing, because like we talked about it before. Yes. The 50th anniversary is coming up in 5-6 years?
True.
6 years.
So
6 years.
You've got plenty of time to let this movie stew. You got plenty of time to put together a whole other story, a whole other universe of Michael Myers that breaks away from Jamie Lee Curtis.
It needs to rest. It needs to rest.
And you can do a full reboot, set it in the 80s or the 90s or whatever, and then all the craziness takes place modern time, and you can do it like that.
No, just like Tex was saying, it's like, yes, because I'm sure everybody loved Rob Zombie's attempt at that. I didn't think they were bad. I didn't think they were bad, but I was like,
I loved them. It's my favorite timeline. I love that version of the Halloween story.
We talked.
I'm a staunch defender of that.
Because we talked about the remakes of Texas Chainsaw. Like, it had its 2 movies, and it was its own self-contained thing, and it made fucking sense. That's what Rob Zombie did. He made 2 movies that were in tandem with each other, and it was like, this is it. And with this one, you've got, that little thing I put in the chat was like, here's 78, and then the 81 movie, and then it splits off into, here's the Thorn timeline, here's the H2O timeline, and here's the H40 line we're in now. I'm like, yeah, this is really weird.
H40.
It's called H40 now, I guess, because H2O, but like, I think that's funny.
There's a trend going around in horror right now.
I swear, if we start doing multiverses of goddamn horror movies, because that's what this seems like, I swear. I'm
just about as multiverses I am as remakes and sequels that are unnecessary.
I know.
I'm ready to get back to either remakes or not doing anything, because I'm tired of grandpa versions of these characters. We've seen it with Texas Chainsaw, Halloween. We've seen it with multiple horror franchises. Now, David Gordon Green, the same dude that made these 3 films, is going to get 3 Exorcist movies. I have zero faith in those movies going forward.
And that's your favorite horror.
Why are they doing that?
Oh, no.
I don't know why.
Oh, boy.
Yes. They are doing an Exorcist trilogy.
Brooding Gamer's face is my face. I'm like,
why do we need a trilogy?
Stop it. There was already a trilogy, actually.
Yeah.
You only need Exorcist 1. You only need the first one.
You only need
only need 1.
That's 2. Sadly,
3 is okay. 3 is okay. It's but you don't need it. 2. The Heretic is horrible.
Heretic, it was bad.
Yes, that is horrible. Yes.
Now, I have for a long goddamn time. Like, I've watched I know. I'm sorry. Oh God, that you're gonna be. Yep, she's drinking. There you go.
Jeez.
I'm gonna steal on that one.
I'm sorry for
they're
your.
coming for
I'm
you
sorry
now
for your.
too.
Man, I thought I was safe.
They've
I was
they've
wrong.
ruined Texas. They've ruined mine. They're coming for yours
Coming
now.
for mine.
They've ruined everything. They ruined everything.
No,
They're
like,
they're going after Pooh and the Grinch too. Damn it!
That's
There's
true,
nothing
they're
safe.
shit.
Oh my gosh.
For a long time, I mean, probably around the time I was in high school, and I started watching more and more of movies that had, like long series of I'd watched all the Freddy movies, I watched all the Jason movies, I watched all the Michael Myers movies too. I'd obviously seen all the Texas Chainsaws, but I'm like, and I'll throw in Jaws because my example is weirdly, I only watched the first ones of these movies because they're
That's
good.
all you need.
They're amazing. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, you can maybe think, okay, there's something here. We can make sequels. I'm like, yeah, but do you need to?
Certain things are good with sequels. Back to the
Watch 'em
Future,
remake.
Indiana Jones, things like that.
Yeah.
Trilogies. Notice I'm ignoring the fourth movie.
We don't.
Anyways,
That doesn't exist.
exist.
It doesn't.
Anyways.
That female
it can
Ghostbusters
be
movie didn't
done
exist
well.
either. They already said that.
It can be
Yeah,
done
we
well as an
don't. We don't
original
talk about that.
As an original concept, it could be well. Why are we remaking
These great movies that started off?
everything?
Yeah, I'm like, I only watched the first movie of Jaws. I only watched the first Exorcist. I only watched the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I only watched the original Halloween, and Nightmare on Elm Street even, because I'm like, I just can't do it with some of these. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know.
Well,
I don't like the whole, because like I said, next Halloween is second to Texas Chainsaw Massacre in its terms of absolute fuckery with its timeline. I don't even know what it's doing anymore. I mean,
well, I'll tell you what happened with these with the Blumhouse Halloweens, and I've ranted and I've raved on it to the point where people are probably hearing me or tired of hearing me preach about this. But Jamie Lee Curtis, the only reason she came back, the one thing that they had to give her besides a gigantic truckload of money, was the executive producer role and the ability to influence with all her social commentary and stuff that she likes to do. If you go back and you look at Halloween 18 kills in this film, there are three looming things that stand out. The Halloween 18 was basically female trauma of I survived this. It was basically a Lifetime movie with Michael Myers. It's basically what it was. The struggle between mother and daughter and the whole thing. That's all that film was. Halloween Kills is just a reflection on January 6th and all of that political nonsense. Halloween Ends is nothing but trauma, trauma, trauma. How do I know that? Go watch any interview she did to promote this film. That's all she talked about, to a point where people were memeing it and putting those clips together, and it went throughout the internet. It was trauma and bullying. That was the point of this movie because of the Corey story and everything else. The social commentary ruined this trilogy of films. They sacrificed the Michael story, 3 films, to just get their virtue signaling in. And now here we are with, here's what we have left. I mean, nobody's happy.
It's kind of dangerous to imply that if you get bullied, you're going to become a murderer.
Right.
Yeah.
That doesn't quite sit.
Yeah, that's all it was.
All the, and I'm very much, obviously anti-bullying, anti all of that kind of thing. I mean, I was bullied as a kid, but that's not how that works. Like, some kids threw me off the side of a bridge. Okay. Some girls had glue in my hair when I was a kid, and I had to rip out part of my hair.
Off the bridge, they die. They don't just
that too.
I mean,
okay,
I'd be a little pissed off too. However, I'm not gonna
go murder people.
No, I think one thing I saw that it was like the reason maybe why I don't know. It seems weird that they all just straight up Corey became the town's punching bag. Is it's like, they didn't have Michael Myers.
Right.
They kind of had Laurie just to kind of throw insults at her, but they didn't have anything else to really throw at, so they just kind of attacked him now. And then I would only take so much of that too. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know, unless there was some extraneous reason why they couldn't just leave.
But the thing is,
I don't know.
With Laurie was still in town, and obviously people are upset with her over that huge mob in the last movie. How is she not the town punching bag still? Like, in a different way, because she caused all this other death because she
couldn't let it go.
Papa Michael.
Yeah,
She kind of is. I mean, the one girl jumped her shit out in front of the grocery store.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So when she was out in public, well, a couple of times in the movie, they did take shots at her too. So maybe that's one of the reasons why she kind of gave attention to Corey in the beginning of the movie. She's like, I see where this kid's at. He had the experience that he had in the beginning of the movie, which I think was a great look. Can we all agree that the opening of the movie was actually really interesting? Because
the opening was great.
I thought we were going somewhere when she whips out the knife. She's like, "You want to do it, or what do you want me to do it?" I'm like, "Oh, we're doing this,
right?
Sweet." And
I was expecting some like Michael or somebody, a shape of some kind to come there and hack up him and that kid. But I was like, but I know he's a significant part of the movie. What happens to him? But yeah, the opening is pretty dope. But I mean, at several times over the course of the film, she does catch a lot of help from the townspeople. So maybe that's one of the reasons that drew her to him at first. And because of her experience, she's able to see the path that he seems to be walking down, whereas Alice and other people don't. I mean, his dad is just stepdad rather, is just kind of there occupying space. His mom has got her own set of her own litany of problems in between her ears, and Alice and herself is kind of broken and not seeing things in a good way right now. So Laurie's the only one with the experience to look at him and say, I see where you're going. I mean, yes, you had this thing happen. It was tragic and terrible, and you were innocent of it. It was an accident, but you're being pushed down this path by the town itself. Is kind of what created him, which I think was kind of the story of this thing. It's like their hatred and vitriol towards him because they don't fully understand the situation, or they had these preconceived notions as to how it all went down, is what pushed him to end up being like Michael.
I don't remember where it was at in the movie or who said it. I just remember hearing it that Laurie took advantage of a mentally. They make Michael sound like he's got like some mental issues. Obviously, there's something mental there, or lack of there. But they were like she took advantage of a mentally handicapped somebody's obsession or something, and she taunted him. And I'm like, what?
I was gonna say that. I'm like, they had that weird like. I'm like, well, what's the push and pull here? If they're like, this is all your fault because you couldn't let it go and you kept egging them on, and now these people are dead. And I'm like, well, but the only two people I will say, really, I'm not even going to consider the other fucking doctor because that was fucking weird. But the only other people whatever, fuck him.
Yeah.
Albert Einstein.
Yeah, the only people that actually understood really what Michael was Laurie and Dr. Loomis.
Right.
So I'm like, well, who's really the one who's kind of wrong here? It's like,
well,
they get it.
Yeah, that's the whole point. In the old from Halloween 4 till 6 in that Thorn trilogy, which 4 is not even part. Technically, 4 has nothing to do with Thorn because they don't talk about it, but it's included. Whatever.
Yeah.
Dr. Loomis gets blamed. Oh, well, you did this to him. You did blah blah blah. Well, obviously, we don't have a Loomis in this film, so Laurie fills that role. So that's why a lot of that happens in this movie. She's obsessed with him, blah, 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 everything else. But it's just, they try to do so many. This was 2 movies in one. This was an anthology about Corey and a little bit kind of like a half-hour Netflix short of the end of the Michael Myers story. Is basically what it was, jammed in together, and it didn't work. I mean, I got to say, I'm very impressed. David Gordon Green did something I didn't think anybody could ever do. He made a worse Halloween film than Resurrection. That needs to be praised because that is really hard to do. Because Resurrection is
is not good.
But this film is worse than Halloween Resurrection because at least in Resurrection you get Michael Myers. At least he's in that movie. In a weird way, but at least you get Michael Myers. This film, you don't even get that.
I just couldn't take it seriously when I'm like, he just went down there and he kind of, because I'm like, really the only person I think that would be able to toe-to-toe with Michael Myers is Laurie Strode. And again, I'd even maybe still throw in Dr. Loomis, but like,
yeah, and we've been hearing that for 3 movies and we never got it.
Yeah, I'm like, and this little fucker just walked in there and just beat his old ass and took his mask, and I'm like, really? Okay. Right. What?
Yeah, well, they did nerf him a little bit.
Yeah, Papa Myers.
Yeah, like
if you want a good final fight between Michael and Laurie, Go watch the end of Halloween 2018 where Michael gets his fingers blown off and he gets lit on fire in the house.
Good.
That 20-minute fight is incredible. That is a good ending to a Halloween film.
Well, it's
This
nice
one,
to see
we're-
for once. I love films that do that, where you get the big bad is finally kind of been like, ah, shit, no, I'm actually in a corner now. Like, it's fun,
right?
Because now you get to see an unstoppable force finally meet its maker. Given it is a 70-year-old hag, but still, it's like,
I hate her. God, I hate her.
It's.
I mean, I guess if you want to say he's the immovable, unstoppable force, or she's the unmovable object, like that's the.
Yeah,
you know,
it was good to see. You know, I enjoyed there was so many things where, like, you know, at the end of this movie, I was really wanting someone to pop and be like, "Did you like it?" No, I'm sorry. It is Halloween. Everyone's entitled to one good scare.
Yeah. Have Sheriff Meeker show up as a ghost or something and say it. Yeah, that'd be great.
But that. I don't even think they used that line, but it was good. Like, you know,
they used it in Halloween Kills. It's very
they use it with
they had the original guy say it again. Yeah.
But that had power behind it, Tex, because it
was Sheriff Brackett.
At the very beginning, or it's him who said it at the beginning of the very first movie we ever got, and then to hear him say that again, you're like, nothing movie was like that. There was not a single, like, you know, I'm sure there were people somewhere out there who are watching her throw a refrigerator on this man, stab knives into his hands, and everyone's sitting there cheering at the end of their seat. And I'm just sitting there like, who am I rooting for? Because really at this point, I just want to go, I'm done.
Well, like, that's the whole thing. In the end of the last film, he was taking on 20 people. He got shot. He got stabbed. He got hit with a freaking iron you iron your clothes with.
Like, baseball with the iron. Hell yeah, she was ready.
Yes, he took on everybody and massacred all of them. But a 70-year-old woman with a few kitchen knives and a refrigerator can take you down now. And this is what I'm talking. This is what I mentioned earlier. Inconsistent booking for these three films. When you look at Myers in 18, he hasn't killed in all these years, and he's still big and burly and strong. In Ends, he's in God mode. And by the time you get to this one, he just killed all of those people, and he's obviously been killing in these 4 years that we don't see. But he looks like he's on his deathbed. It makes the rules for Michael and how they wrote him in this movie make no sense whatsoever. It's like 5 people wrote the story.
You know what movie?
It was like 4 people, actually, I think.
Whoever it was, they suck. They should never make another movie.
You know what I thought maybe I'd like to see? I'm like, let's see a little more with the hobo. I'm like, I'd like to believe like Michael and the hobo have some weird little like agreement where he's like, I'm gonna lead someone down here for like a little drug addict that no one's gonna miss. Here you go, buddy.
But
down, you know.
When it comes to the hobo, hang on. When it came to the hobo, they had Nick Castle. He has the big white beard, right? Mm-hmm. And the hobo even says, "Give me the mask. I'm Michael Myers." Why didn't Nick Castle play that role? How fun would that have been to see?
I thought that was him at first, but then I'm like, no, he was the guy in the party. I'm like, okay, that's funny still.
Yeah.
Go
ahead.
Cooler.
I thought that was. I thought the hobo for a second was John Carpenter. Because he kind of looked like him. And I was like, oh, that's cool.
I could see that.
That'd be funny too.
But no, one thing like, and they let up, and Tex just said it. He's like, give me the mask. Like, I'm sorry, was there a story about to be written in here and they just forgot it? Because like, why does the hobo want the mask? Where did this come from?
Well, that's what I'm saying. He's like, you're going to go in there and get that mask for me. I'm like, maybe he saw him and he's kind of like, oh crap, I know I can't go in there and just. Maybe, you know what? Maybe the old man could have just waltzed in there like Corey did, because apparently fucking Michael can't do shit anymore. So
anybody can take it. It's easy. Yeah.
I guess.
They did one thing in this movie that I was just saying something text about it. One of the, when the officer says, everyone's entitled to one good scare, that was a major line he said from the first movie. They had one single good kill in this movie that Michael actually did, and that's taking that little redheaded bitch.
Oh, I loved her. God, I loved her.
I was gonna say, now if we talk about the throwback, boom, and did the heads up.
She got the bob kill. I liked it.
When we were watching
the wall.
I caught myself tilt my head to it. I'm like,
I was like, yeah, do it.
that alone gave me chills just because I'm like, finally. It was a simple kill. It was not over the top. It was the pin to the wall.
Well, it was over the top. She was over the door.
Yeah.
But
well, and I appreciate they called back to the very, very first scene of the first movie. They did the POV of like him reaching into the thing and grabbing the knife out. That you see just the arm walking around. I'm like, okay, cool.
I did like all the flashbacks.
Yeah,
I did like those.
I think I asked Tex just to make sure. I'm like, in the original '78 film, they were watching the original thing, and then this
Thing
one
from outer space, yeah.
and then watching John Carpenter's version of the thing, and this
The
one,
thing, yeah.
Funny.
The one I didn't understand was like when Corey was having his little temper tantrum on the outside of the penthouse or whatever this was. He's like banging on the windows and shit, like he's literally throwing a tantrum. But there's like this awkward moment where Michael has her, and he looks over at him, and Corey's doing something with his hands, and Michael just kind of like looks over, like they're having a moment, and then he just kind of continues on. I'm like, what was that supposed to be? Was that like are you watching, champ? This is how Dad does it. Like, is that
watch me, Dad?
That's literally what it was. Michael Myers was a baseball coach. He was your football coach to teach you how to throw the football in this movie. That's all he was. He showed him. He was running. He was running drills. That's all he did for Corey. And it would have been.
Do it right.
It would have been fine if you had a plan to go forward and have Corey be a new character in his own series of films. A lot of this film could have been forgiven. But the fact that you wasted the end of the 78 storyline for nothing is just, it's another timeline that's going to get remade in 5 years. They'll say, oh, this is the true sequel to the 78 film, and they'll go on and make more money. That's what they're going to do. I guarantee.
Michael's over there like, you killed 2 kids? Those are rookie numbers. You got to pump them numbers up, kid. Get out there.
Jeremy, was it you that said the right way to end it would be have Corey like raise up real quick and look over?
Yeah, I said like if that would have been you just suddenly realized he now fully got possessed by Michael's evil, and then like at the end you just see, like it's just a dead house, just no one's in Laurie's house, and his body's still in the middle of the the hallway there, and then you just saw him just sit up and do that little like head tilt back.
Oh,
and the movie just cuts right there. That would have been sweet.
Well, we never see him like actually get his body.
I know. I said we didn't see that's a thing from The Walking Dead. You didn't see a body, then you don't know. Right. That's it.
Well, so much of this movie so much of Michael in this movie was sacrificed and given to Corey, and they did nothing.
Yeah, like if you would have done something with it, I've been fine.
Right. It's just like I said a minute ago. So much of this could have been forgiven if you had planned out a little bit and done something with what you had. You were given a material to make a story from, and you turned in an F paper. Like you were given, literally, they didn't have to do anything fancy with this movie. To make a successful end of this, give us 90 minutes of Laurie, Allison, and Will Patton's character hunting down Michael Myers, who's been missing for the last 4 years. They finally find him. There's a big epic fight in the middle of the street so everybody can see it, and boom, Halloween ends. Whether Laurie lives or dies, you can make that up at the end, whatever. They didn't have to get all elevated with this mess and try to make it more than what it was. Keep it simple. Give the people what they want. This is the end of it, not the beginning, and go home happy. But they could not do that. I don't understand why.
Could have ended it on somebody like walking down the road and like curb stomping a fucking jack-o'-lantern. Like, there you go. There's the end of your Halloween.
You have the end of the film.
And instead of playing Don't Fear the Reaper, just play Smashing Pumpkins. I don't care. Play a song.
It's just there's good pieces within this movie. And there's people on YouTube that do this, but they take films and they re-edit them and they put out a different cut and makes it a better movie. Yeah. There's a good movie in this, but they didn't give it to us. They gave us a jumbled mess of, here you go. You figure it out for yourself, and nobody's happy about it.
When Halloween Kills came out on Blu-ray, they had an extended edition, which I love it when they do extended editions. I did buy that.
Of course.
And Haley and I sat and watched it right before we left for Tennessee because, I bought the movie when it first came back out. So I actually hadn't even opened it and watched it yet. So we watched it, and there was enough added to it to where I'm like, see, now that was interesting. That would have made a better movie. Like they extended the kills out. So like when you had him busting out Big John's eyes, I wanted to fucking on those two guys alone. They made fucking Halloween.
Big John, Little John.
Those guys were awesome.
I liked Big John and Little John, but the constant name calling back and forth got old really quick. I did like.
We know which ones are which. Yeah,
I liked their characters, and I thought they were hilarious. But that, do you have to just do the names all the time? That got repetition really quick. So,
I loved that. To be fair, I highly enjoyed the repetition of that. I thought that was fun.
Yeah,
that
they were calling out to each other. Marco,
they drew that out so much more to where you're like, in the normal version, he just kind of jabs this out. In this, Michael has some rage in there because his hands are shaking more, and you can see pushing much harder. Eyeballs pop out, and you can even hear the crack as he's starting to peel this man's head apart. That was not in the original version. And there was
watch that.
Like,
I know.
Fuck, what is he doing? And it's still it leads to the same way. But there was more in the film where I'm like, I don't remember that. So that must have been a new one. But I like that. That was good. I see this movie coming out as this had to be like the Jurassic World Dominion of Halloween. There's missing something here that we didn't get.
This is the rise of Skywalker of Halloween movies. This is what this is.
I don't like that this trend has happened with video games too, and unfortunately, I know Burning Gamer is going to know exactly what I'm talking about. When you have a game that comes out, and then they're like, okay, but it's kind of like we'll fix it in post. I'm like, oh yeah, there's a DLC, there's a patch, something all of a sudden, oh, now it's good. Now you backtracked and actually
4.
Yeah,
sorry.
Cyberpunk. Now Cyberpunk is good because you finally fixed it. 2 years later. The same with Destiny 2 happened. Now the game's good because now you finally fixed it. I'm like,
the way I look at it kind of is that's an insult to us because you know what Tech said. This was one of those movies. If you enjoyed it, it's because you're one of those typical Joe Blows who go out buy a Halloween shirt because it's spooky, and then you go overdose on pumpkin spice.
And then you start joking off Mariah Carey when she starts singing her stupid ass song. Sorry. God damn it.
I'm
not sorry at all. Mariah, if you can hear me, stay in your little cave. You still got another month.
Please.
When you have true fans, I'm telling you, a true fan is someone who goes in there and not only are you wearing the Michael shirt, you've got Michael tattooed on your fucking body.
You buy his merchandise when it's summertime and everything else. Yeah.
But
we're horror fans. We just go crazier in October. That's what it is.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
To the fans who have dedicated themselves to this series, even the bad movies, people, you know what? I don't like the other movies. I think they fucking suck. But if it pops up on AMC, it's fucking Halloween season. I'm gonna watch it.
You're gonna watch. Yeah.
You're not watching it because, I really like Jamie Lee Curtis in this, or I really like watching that guy punch Michael in the nuts. No, it's because Michael is in the fucking movie. You watch it because of Michael. You go to this movie and you spend 45 minutes watching a Days of Our Lives fucking episode before it even gets to the main fucking point. I'm sorry to keep bringing this up, but it's my theme. You don't go to a goddamn Jurassic Park movie, go through it before you even see 45 minutes before a fucking dinosaur shows up. That's not what you do. And then you find out it's not even a real dinosaur. It's just some Joe Blow in a fucking papier-mâché dinosaur mask. What the fuck are you trying to do?
It's somebody who stumbled across a dinosaur in the sewers. Now he pretends he's a dinosaur.
Hey,
I'm a dinosaur mask, you little shit.
Right.
What I do on Saturday night is none of your
He comes running out of there with those little fucking inflatable T-Rexes, like, woo!
It's
and just runs out.
Rar.
But
well, that's
why would you do that to your fans? Why would you
I don't know.
They don't. Okay, this movie wasn't made for the fans. This was a cash grab because Blumhouse announced 3 years ago, or almost 4 years ago, that they were going to do Kills and Ends as the sequel to Halloween 2018. And they had a plan, but they diverted from the plan because they thought they had a better idea, and they gambled and lost, is what they did here. And like,
I thought it was they were going to try to actually do the anthology thing.
Well, yes, they've talked about it, but as far as I've heard, and I stay on the pulse of all this horror news, y'all see all the crap I post from Bloody Disgusting and every other horror news source that's on the internet. I stay up to date with this stuff. People have been talking about Blumhouse wanting to do Season of the Witch or do John Carpenter's other anthology ideas that he had back in the day and everything else, but they don't have the rights as we know it. And I got a feeling that if Blumhouse had more sequel or the right to use the name Halloween, Season of the Pumpkin, or whatever the next one might be called, they would be announcing it by this point, and they have not done it yet. So
it's Season of the Pumpkin Spice. That's
Season of the Pumpkin Spice is the next Halloween film, and it's going to be like a haunted Starbucks, and everybody who drinks the coffee, snakes come out of their head like in Season of the Witch, and that's how everybody dies. That's going to be the next movie. I'm calling it right now.
I'm here for that.
So,
I'd watch that movie.
Hey, all I gotta say is right now I'm a better Michael than Michael was.
Ah!
Oh, jeez, that's a
yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I thought you were about to go stand outside in front of your Michael thing that's in front of your house. Like over your shoulder, like, hey, what's up?
Hey, I told you, you don't know what I do on a Saturday night.
It's Wednesday, my dude.
Hey.
I got Spider-Man. I have Spider-Man on. It's Wednesday, my dude.
I mean, if he's got that mask, I bet we know what kind of porno he likes. I'm just saying. It's all good. So.
This is the wrong Jurassic Park movie I downloaded. Damn.
I found this. I'm like, I'm going to put this on.
You can't do that to a dinosaur. That's not legal. What's going on here?
They're not real. It's okay.
Jurassic World dominatrix.
They got a velociraptor tied to a S&M board or something in it. Yeah.
Okay.
You know, you got to open with like some guy who's like definitely not Jeff Goldblum with the shirt like wide open and whatnot. Like, oh no.
Oh, but that's the whole thing. This movie, it has some good elements to it. A couple of the positives I had, and I really had to struggle to get positives in this film. I liked Laurie's house. It was very much like the Carruthers house in Halloween 4. It had that kind of small town vibe to it. I loved the design of the home. I liked Haddonfield because Haddonfield felt fleshed out. They shot it in southern Georgia somewhere. I forget where it was shot at, but you got to feel like you were actually in a small town. It didn't feel like a Hollywood set. That was one thing that I did like about it. And, of course, the sound and the score, because John Carpenter, he can sleep and make a good score for a movie. He's just that talented. It is what it is. But besides that, honestly, I'll never watch this film again. I watched it 5 times to the point because I wanted to know this thing in and out. And I'm not buying this film. I won't buy any merchandise. I'll never see it again. It will go in the pile of Halloween films that suck. And unfortunately, that pile is getting pretty big at this point. So, it is what it is.
If they have a extended edition, I'll buy it.
I won't. I won't give them a dime for this movie.
If it gets any better, maybe, because I mean, shit, they even did it with Suicide Squad. It's like, hey, we fleshed out more stuff. I'm like, yeah, you should have done it in the first place, but thank you.
What is that? Like, I don't.
That's something. It shouldn't have to feel that way. And I'm like, now we can maybe. We've had the discussion too of like their studio involvement versus the actual creators, say like the director, the writer, the producers, whatever, and they always butt heads, and it ends up one side or the other ends up losing out, and we know we can tell by a movie like which one is the one that really won out. But I'm like, I don't know if that's really the case. It just seems like no, this is John Carpenter and obviously his son too, and then David Gordon Green. I think what's the guy that owns the rights? He's one of the producers from like the first movie.
Malcolm Todd.
Yes, I couldn't remember his name. I'm like, this seems like this is just all them. So I don't know really what happened here. Like,
my only thing is, well, not really my only thing, because obviously I wouldn't be here if I only had one thing to say. There was no need to push these out one after another. Yes, it's cool because like, oh, I don't have to wait very long for my next movie. But it is obvious that you rushed so much shit just to get it done. It should take 3 years. I mean, it shouldn't, but it should take roughly almost 3 years to get a damn good film completely done before it goes out. Not 3 years to get an entire movie series completely finished. Like, look at this may be a bad example, so apologies if I offend somebody. Like, look at the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit series. Those were stretched out over several years.
Yeah.
And we got, in my opinion, a absolutely fan-fucking-tastic series.
Well, those were also very special effects heavy, so logistically you probably couldn't film those right on top of each other.
No. But one thing that is noticeable between those films and Halloween was it was made by people who are passionate, by people who loved it, and by people who know how important it is to us. So they were willing to put in that time. They were willing to go completely above and beyond to make a movie to where, even tiny little things that most people wouldn't know, like, just something, like if you read the Lord of the Rings books, that Gollum doesn't take Frodo and Sam through this particular swamp. And they even make a reference to that in the movie when he says, we're not supposed to be here. Something like that is just a nice little thing. But you look at this, and I don't see a movie that was made by people who really understood what the assignment was. They were given a homework assignment, and they kind of just, like, I don't know, you get a group of kids together and only one of the people worked on the project, and you get this group of other kids who are like, yeah, we did a great job, didn't we? And they didn't participate one fucking bit. I don't see a movie that was made for us. I don't see a movie that was made to accurately finish up the series. Just as how much money can we fucking make from this, and how many Halloween masks can we sell at Spirit this year?
The point of the Michael Myers character, okay, you go to the 78 film. All the events happen. By the end of the film, he's shot 6 times. He falls out the window over the balcony, and poof, he's gone. You hear breathing, and you see all the locations that the murders happened, right? That was the end of the character. When John Carpenter made Michael Myers in this whole story, when Irwin E. Blons basically tasked him to make me a Halloween film, and he turned me loose, there was never supposed to be a sequel. Halloween, John Carpenter had to get sued into writing the script for Halloween 2, and he literally did it over a 6-pack of beer. They had to take the man to court to write another one because it was supposed to be a 90-minute Hitchcock tale that never went anywhere. He was the boogeyman. He was evil. That's all you were supposed to know about him. That's why he didn't speak as a child. You didn't know anything about him. But it made $70 million in 1978. So, of course, they wanted more. Yeah. So that's why John Carpenter never directed anymore. Whenever they were going to make Halloween H2O, they even talked to John Carpenter about coming back to direct, and he goes, well, you give me $10 million, I'll make it, because he didn't get the payout for the first film that he thought he should have gotten. But that being said, that's why John Carpenter doesn't care anymore, because they took a 90-minute story, that's all it was ever supposed to be, and they've made 13 films out of it. Some are good, some are bad, of course, with anything, that's the way it goes. But the more Michael Myers stories you make, the more you have to explain, and you take that chance of either being awesome or it's sucking. And with this new trilogy, the only one that I personally like is the kills, because it's basically an 80s gore slasher. There's no real story to the movie. It's just, let's turn up and go. But, to each their own. One's going to like more than the other, whatever. But Halloween's not done. When they say ends, that's just the end of these 3 films. He will be back, like I said, probably by the 50th anniversary. And now, whether that's a Netflix series or another film or it's on Hulu, who knows? We'll see. But at this point, the bloom's off the rose. It's going to take some work to get it back. That's all I know.
You know what also kind of sucks is you'll appreciate this.
They're canceling the trilogy.
Do what?
Said they're canceling the Exorcist trilogy.
That would make me happy.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Power of Christ compels you.
To stop.
Yeah.
Tells you to not make these movies. Yeah.
Please don't before I throw up pea soup everywhere.
Right.
Fucking no. So the thing that really kind of sucks, and this is just personal, and you're here, so you're in this story.
All right.
You're in this.
Yeah.
Where are we going? I don't know where we're going
see.
right now.
Hold on. It'll make more sense than this movie did.
Buckle
So,
That's not saying much.
I know. There's a point to where I'm getting here. Trust me. This is a coherent story. It also just kind of sucks because to me, it's like it's weirdly special because the Halloween 2018 version was like our second date.
Yeah, it was.
Like ever.
That's
So,
cool.
and I say that's more important because I'm like, well, you can have a first date. You can have plenty of first dates. Everyone has first dates. But you got a second date? You came back.
Right.
We're going somewhere now.
And
Right.
So to be fair, that's more important. Actually, our first one was Happy Death Day. So
Yes, Happy Death Day was
still
There
horrible.
you go.
Yeah. But then I'm like, because I still have
That's actually not a bad movie. I actually like the first one.
That is a good one.
Yeah,
I do like it. But yeah, so like Halloween 2018 was like our second date. So I'm like, yeah. So I was kind of like, oh, this is nice. This is a nice little. And then I'm like, well, I'm glad we're good because that movie didn't. It crapped out. But damn,
We're still here.
it's a little disappointing because I'm like, that's
glad I snagged you before Ends came out.
Right, yeah.
It started.
if you
we
would
were
have took her to
killing
this
it,
one,
and
she,
then it ended.
yeah, if you would have took her to this one, she would have blocked your number and forgot you existed. But hey,
I would have completely understood.
Well,
Yeah,
no,
then
he took us to Halloween.
And then I would have, and then my day would have turned worse. I would have got jumped by a bunch of fucking band kids.
yeah, then you would have became Corey Cunningham and put on a scarecrow
me
mask
as
and
an-
stabbed people.
Me as
Yeah.
an adult would have got jumped by some stupid little band kids, and I got thrown over a bridge. I stabbed some hobo in the fucking
You would have
chest.
became Wish.com Michael Myers like you
Ah.
did. Yeah, what you got to do? It's
No,
all good.
I went into a Spirit Halloween, and I almost couldn't quite get it. I actually got a Star Trek William Shatner mask instead of an actual Michael mask.
You shaved the sideburns off and got some spray paint and did it yourself. Yeah. Yeah.
So, YouTube
That's what I would have done.
out there
Damn
right
it.
now. A guy who I want to say his name, the channel's name is like 3C or something like that. But
Very sick.
he,
I don't know.
oh god, he's heavier set guy. He always has like, and behind him is like props galore and everything. He's got a pretty good recording studio. He's actually interviewed Blumhouse creator, whatever his name is. I don't.
Jason Blum.
Jason Blum.
Yeah. Because he's obsessed with like the Five Nights at Freddy's series, and Jason Blum is
Oh,
wanting
yeah.
to do Five Nights, which is making
He
me
is
more
making
every day.
He is
want
making
that to be
them, yeah.
good.
Yeah,
I
that's what
want
I'm
that to
saying.
be good.
Yeah, when you find
Us over here, the gamers want that to happen and want it to be good.
You probably
Yeah.
can't see behind me, but I've got a line.
Oh, there's a
of
whole
Five Nights
line
at
of Five
Freddy's
Nights at Freddy's
stuff
things
back
right
there.
here across the.
Oh,
they're really,
cool.
they're
They're
really
like
small.
tiny. They're
They-
pop figures, but they're
Not
unboxed.
too
They're like
long.
small pop figures, yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
But
you're good. They just announced recently that Jim Henson Studios will be doing the animatronics, which I don't know
that-
who else you could
That'd
get
be cool.
that.
that will be
Wow.
sweet.
But
Because like if any two people that you ever see in a movie that's tied to it for special effects is if you see like Skywalker Ranch or Sound in Jim Henson's Creature Shop, you know that shit is gonna be fire.
Right.
but
Yeah.
Yeah.
with this particular guy, 3C, I think is the name of the channel. He did this little challenge where, he called it his Halloween What If series.
Whoa.
What if the guy who made the mask for Michael Myers, what if he ate something different that day, or he woke up feeling in a different mood, and instead of grabbing the Captain Kirk mask, he grabbed the Spock mask right next to it. And
Oh, that'd be great. Michael Myers with pointy ears. Oh,
Right,
I'm down
just
for
the-
that. Make that movie. Make
Yeah.
that movie, please.
That's how he goes to stab people. He does a little Vulcan pinch, and then he goes like,
yeah. He grabbed a Spock mask, a Rock mask, and a John Cena mask. But John Cena, they were really simple. They're just simple. So he sprayed it, and that was it. But with the Spock mask, he actually gave it a full treatment. He did the hair, he took the sideburns off, and he did the eyebrows and everything, and he cut the holes out. Huh. And he said that this mask actually does better because not only are you getting this eerie white pale face, he's like, you're getting these pointy ears, which for some reason fit a Michael Myers mask and make it kind of like this whimsical boogeyman-esque kind of character that he still gets that Michael, but with the pointy ears. And it was oddly, it actually worked pretty well. And he was like, but it'd be really cool to just see like, he actually did buy a Captain Kirk mask and did that as well, just to see how he could make his look. And it came out looking oddly similar, but it was just cool to see him want to go down this other route of what other Michael masks could you make from other famous character masks, apart from just the Captain Kirk mask.
Also, didn't we almost kind of get that? I remember that being a really weird. Didn't Laurie almost do some weird Vulcan neck pinch bullshit to Cora? I'm like, what are you doing? Like, she came up to him and went like, yeah, like stuck her thumb in his collarbone. I'm like, what? I was thinking Spaceballs, where it's like, what are you doing? The neck pinch? No, stupid, you got it too low. It's got to be up here.
If you read the novelization of the 1978 Halloween film, the mask is much different. It's not a Shatner mask at all. It's like a blank clown mask with these bright red eyes and blue lips or something like that. It's completely different from what you see in the films.
Sounds like the clown mask.
Yeah, it's very similar to the clown mask that he wears as a child, but he finds one as an adult, whatever. But I mean, you've got like, okay, Halloween 4. I love Halloween 4. It's one of my favorite Halloween films of all time. When you see Michael for the first time, he's wearing bandages all over his head because, in Halloween 2, him and Loomis got blown up in the hospital, right? Yeah. So for the first 20 minutes or so of that film, when you see him, he's wearing the bandages on his head, and it's actually a pretty intimidating look. I mean, I wish they had not had him wearing the mask and just have him wear the bandages and get dirtier and bloodier as the film goes. Then at the end of the movie, he stumbles upon another one of those masks or something and puts it on. But I mean, you can play with the mask. I mean, I'm not married to that plain white mask. You can do something else with it.
They even awkwardly had, before we got there with Jason Voorhees. I'm like, the only thing you think of is that fucking hockey mask. That thing is sick. I'm like, yeah, but let's not forget. First of all,
I love the sackhead Jason.
Yeah,
sackhead is my favorite. Yeah.
First of all, it was like he was a little scrawny Gollum-looking thing, and it was his mom. But I'm like, yes. Then you had the weird like sack over the head and the coveralls with a little eye poking out. I'm like, yeah. And then some guy said, I think literally it was like someone came from like a hockey practice and he pulled out the mask and they were like, that's it. And I'm like, that works. It's weirdly kind of terrifying.
You need to watch this series on Netflix called The Movies That Made Us.
Yeah, it's a great series.
I know what you're talking about.
I've watched a lot of those.
I learned a lot watching that. I mean, hell, I even learned more watching Jurassic Park on that one because they covered that as well. But I mean, it was cool when they were. I mean, hell, I did not know that one of the Michael Myers was played by a woman. I had no idea.
Well, Deborah Hill, that was John Carpenter's wife, girlfriend. I don't think they were ever actually married. In the original film, there's shots where you see Michael's hands, and that's her hands, and there's a couple scenes where she's walking. Like 6 people played Michael in the first movie.
Yeah.
Deborah Hill played him in that film.
Yeah,
and
like
going
really,
forward, she did. But,
it was someone different than like that one time in the original one where they pull the mask off. Like, oh, there's dude, and then it's like, no, but when you pull back down,
that dude, he's a I can't remember his name now, but he goes to a lot of conventions.
Like the guy, you see his face for a split second, you're like, and then pulls it back down.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't remember. It's not. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But there's him. But there's been multiple people who played Michael in that original film. But Nick Castle is the famous one with the walk. And I mean, it's because Nick Castle was in a band with John Carpenter, and he just happened to be on set hanging out one day, and they had nobody to play the shape. And so he was like, "Hey, go put that costume on." And he goes, "Well, what do you want me to do? I want you to walk." "Well, how do you want me to walk?" "Well, just walk." And that's how Nick Castle did it, and it forever became the thing, you know. So
I was gonna say, wasn't it Halloween where they said they were trying out different masks, and they tried they tried like the clown mask, and they kind of laughed like, wow, that's kind of creepy. But it's like when they picked the final one they used, like the Shatner mask, and whited out. They were like, no one said a fucking word. The whole room was quiet, and they're like, that's it then. I'm like, yeah, well, that works.
Because if that thing is properly lit, you put all your own fear upon it.
It's horrifying to see a pitch dark, and you see his white face just come out of the dark.
Well, that's the thing.
It's horrifying. Yeah.
Yeah, the mask doesn't work in a lot of films. Go watch Halloween 5.
I was like, is it 4 or 5, the one that's really weird with the little eyebrows or whatever? Is it 5? There's that one
movies where the mask sucks.
There's one where it's really weird and I don't like it.
Halloween 5 is the worst one because the neck is really long and he doesn't tuck it in, so it's just like hanging out. Yeah, that was
the one where it looks like a fucking he looks like a Dilo, like biting Dedrick Nedry's face off.
Yeah, no, there's the one and his walk.
Yes,
like I'm sorry,
that one.
You know, to be Michael, you need to have 2 key things. 3 things. Make that. 1, you need to have the walk. 2, you need to have the, and 3, you need to have the weight. We were actually at a haunted house here in here in Huber, by the post office. This guy has this massive Halloween display, and I think it was the guy's brother is walking around as Michael Myers. He had like the Halloween Kills mask, the same one we have on the dummy out in the yard. And Haley looked over at me. She goes, "See, you don't have to be like a fit guy to play this," because this guy was quite large. I was like, "Yeah, but the guy, one thing I don't, and that's height. I'm 5'7". Michael's got to be at least like even the man
6 feet
towers over me." The original Michael was only 5'10". Nick Castle's not a tall guy. So what made the original Michael scary was it was just an average sized dude of an average build. Now, my favorite version of the character is Tyler Mane from the Rob Zombie films. He's like 6'7", like 300 and something pounds. He's the dude that played Sabretooth in the X-Men films.
Yeah.
The first ones. Yeah.
I was looking up in our attic because I was in the process of trying to make the dummy out in the yard because I'm like, the new Halloween movie is coming out this month.
Right.
So I do with something special for the yard. So we went and I found my Halloween 2 Rob Zombie mask. And I kind of stood there, I was like, it looks so fucking huge on the mask. It doesn't work. And then I got into sitting there, I'm like, why the fuck was the mask so damn big? And then you look at the first movie, and when the boyfriend's having sex with Michael's sister, he puts it on and he does like his little and the mask is swimming on him. And then I remember they had to make it for that man who it's snug as a glove. It fits his face. He's a fucking titan. So yes, the mask had to be bigger.
I was gonna say it's like when they got Andrew Bernarski to be Leatherface in the remake.
Leatherface in 03, yeah.
He is a big boy, and I'm like, it works.
Best Leatherface ever.
That's a character that you need to be a big bulky dude because he's terrifying. You know what? I'll even say it since that is my favorite one. I'm like, you know what? The only one I can really respect anymore is still Leatherface because I'm like, he is an actual just a person.
Yeah,
right.
He hasn't been like. Actually, the other 3 big ones have already been killed. Freddy's already dead. He's in your dreams, which that's a whole level of psychological fear that's already terrifying.
That's coming.
Jason was already technically dead. He drowned as a kid, and he came back. And even though they killed Jason,
he does in every movie and comes back.
I know. Then they had the lightning rod crap, and he's basically now an unkillable zombie.
I love Zombie Jason. Zombie Jason's my favorite out of all.
Zombie Jason, it is fun. I do like those movies, weirdly enough. And then you got, Michael, who's just quite literally a personification of evil, who also just really can't be taken down. I'm like, right. And then
And why is that? Because Dr. Loomis said in the original film, evil never dies, except in Halloween Ends where they put him in a freaking car back there. I hate you people.
But Mike,
Well, I was just about to ask you guys, what did you guys think of Michael dying? It kind of goes against the
like how would you
usual
even do that?
Yeah, it goes against the usual tropes that we see in horror movies from the beginning of horror movies up till now, that no matter what happens, he's always out there. He always manifests somehow in a physical form, usually in a uniform of some kind. Like for him, the overalls and the mask and
The jumpsuit, yeah.
the jumpsuit and the mask. So the idea that he actually has met his end in this movie, is it how does that sit with you guys?
I mean, how do you even write that? I mean, like the thing with Freddy Krueger, when I watched those movies, I'm like, yeah, how do you kill him? He's already dead. And I'm like, really, the thing with him is like, it's kind of like, well, if you dream him, he's still there. So really, you can't get rid of Freddy. I like the twist that like, oh yeah, we can pull him into the physical world and you can bring things in from it. I'm like, oh, that's a cool thing. And they're like, okay, it's not easy, but we can do that, and then we may be able to actually finally kill Freddy Krueger for good. Now I'm like, it's still kind of a weird, like it just feels wrong. But I'm like, okay.
you know that meme that they have where it's all those people sitting at a table, and I mean, I get a lot because being a Pokemon fan, they'll always be like, all right, new game's coming out. What do we need? And then everybody gives that one guy at the end of the table who gives the actual thing that is really needed in the series, and he's thrown
out the window.
I feel like that's how this movie had to have gone when they're sitting there, guys. How are we doing this? Are we gonna kill Lori?
They pounded a line of Coke and then did their Mad Libs and like, all right, we got it. Here's our movie.
Window is the one who had your idea with Corey rising up and then looking at her, and that the credits right there. That'd be it. Just him up, look, credits, and then
but
that doesn't end it. Like,
how do you can't make this go on for fucking ever. You can reboot it 3 million more times. But I mean, eventually, Michael Myers, even the most diehard fans are gonna be like, okay, dude, figure it out. What are you doing here? You've had your head off, you're back. You've been caught on fire, you're back. You got karate chopped in the nuts, you're back. Make it up. Eventually, you're gonna have to fucking end it.
You got your head lopped off, but not really. Like, yeah, okay.
I don't understand how Michael can die and Laurie can still be alive.
It still seemed like it should have. It still should have been the Harry Potter thing. One can't live while the other survives. They both had to die.
I really wanted him to just reach.
I didn't even think of that. That would have been fucking cool, man.
I said if Laurie dies and then Michael just like falls over because Laurie's dead, now I have no reason to exist, and he just falls over dead. I was like, I see them doing that. I see it being like,
I don't think that would have worked.
Maybe Laurie is the thing that keeps fueling that evil for him. Maybe if she died, then maybe him and Corey could have done a cute little like suicide pact, like, okay, on the same time, right? Stab each other in the neck, and they die. I don't know. Like, no, don't even do like they'll cross the arms and stab each other, like, and then die.
Well, it would have been they crossed and then slashed. And then stabbing. But
the only
logistics.
I will give them the creative points on the whole putting him through the car shredder. I did not see that coming. I will give them points for that.
Yeah, I was kind of like, oh, that's it. Okay.
If you're going to kill him, you have to,
gone.
You have to go nuclear with it. I mean, you have to wipe him out completely. But him and Laurie should have gone out together. They started this thing. The whole point of the 1978 film was fate. They talked about it in the classroom. Laurie even sang the song. Right. I wish I had you all alone, just the two of us. They laid this out in the 78 film. They should have died together. That's the number one thing that I said it earlier. If they had just killed Laurie with Michael, I would have liked this movie because they finally ended it. But now Laurie's just going to do a freaking I mean, it feels like, I don't like it.
Well, and also, that even still was the ending of Christine. They put the car through the compactor. I'm like, you didn't try, did you?
I came back even then.
I know that
Right.
little piece of metal started to bend again. I'm like, ah.
Well, it's
The finger.
I know that would have been the finger thing. Damn it.
even killing Michael in any way. If we're going back to the 78 film, which is what this was supposed to be, go back a couple weeks or maybe a month or so ago when on this show, whenever we talked about it, and I proposed how I would end it. You have Michael and Lori fighting in Smith's Grove Sanitarium, put it in a cool place. It's not in her house. It's somewhere that's notable. You have Michael and Lori, and Lori has to sacrifice herself to kill the shape. Allison takes the shot. She kills both of them. Michael falls back out a window or over a balcony or something. And then poof, he's just gone and disappears. Why? Because just as Dr. Loomis said in the television cut of Halloween 1, you think you've got them fooled, don't you, Michael? Because evil never dies. He is the boogeyman. He is the shape. He is evil incarnate. He cannot die. He keeps coming back. That is the only ending that makes sense to me. I will stand on that hill and die on it if I have to. But it just doesn't make sense.
Who said going into the Mikey Mangler, and then right before he goes down, he grabs her ankle and pulls her?
That was her.
That was me.
I like
her.
That's what I thought was happening.
Well,
Not
because
only-
it did happen so fast. All of a sudden, it just the next shot is he's grounded. I'm like, oh, okay.
What I say, what if? I mean, this isn't. I like to go on what is, but what if out of nowhere Corey comes diving off from off camera?
Oh,
tackles her into the grinder. And all three of them down
he
together.
pushes her in. That would have been sweet.
If that had happened, this would be my favorite movie because he finally put that witch to death.
And he just holds up the fucking mask in the air, like, yeah.
And then he's going down holding the mask. Like,
Right.
Well, how messed up is it? How messed up is it that at the end of this movie, she just keeps his mask at the house? It's just sitting there in her office. It's just hanging out. Yeah.
On the coffee table.
Like,
It's a centerpiece. It's a conversation piece.
The police didn't take it as evidence. No, you can keep it, Lori. It's not that big.
Decorate
You
it
just
with cherry
Right.
blossoms.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Yeah, it just put some cherry blossoms around it, put it on a pumpkin,
Put
do
the
whatever
pie
you need.
there.
That's
Like-
all good. The mask that's been sitting in a sewer for 4 years and probably covered in God knows what. You just keep it in your house. That's how things work. Okay, makes no sense.
No, you know what? Maybe the next movie just needs to be you see Michael just driving in Christine, like, hey, what's up, guys? Just
Oh, yeah.
the two of them just materialize together again, like, hey, what's up?
Since we've jumped the shark, we might as well, right? Let's just go crazy.
I know
with this
exactly
thing.
what you're saying, and I love that phrase so much.
There was
Yeah.
Another franchise that fucking fell from grace.
talking about how the final fight will go. Someone said they will be ending up in and this guy on Twitter, he was fucking hilarious because I follow some of his things. He's like, how a movie should really end or whatever. But he was, picture this: Lori, Michael in the cemetery, standing right next to Judith Meyer's tombstone.
Judith's grave.
All of a sudden, Michael sprouts wings and goes for. I'm like, and he went into this over the top, stupid ass thing.
Why not?
And then by the end,
Right.
you'll pay to see it. You're stupid. And I'm like, you're right.
You're right. You got me.
Yeah.
But
After what I just saw, yeah, you got me.
the one
Right.
thing in a horror movie is not just to get scared, but the shock factor. And going back on how this movie should have ended, a moment like that, body going into the grinder, a quick grab of the ankle. You can't see me, but I'm doing this. I'm doing it up. But grabbing her is going to make just about everybody in that theater go, whoa, hold on, what? And then before you even have time to react, she gets pulled in. Knowing Lori, she probably wouldn't scream. She would just deadpan go in there like, this is how it has to be. Or whatever.
Right.
But at least then you're like, shit. You know,
It's
to
really
be
done.
wasn't
It's
kidding.
real.
He was not going down without her.
I mean, because you can't tell me, like, one of the coolest damn things is bad. I mean, as fun, but also as bad as Freddy versus Jason is, you can't tell me when that motherfucker came out of the water holding Freddy's
Freddy
head. I was
winks
like,
at you.
and he just winks. I'm like, yeah, motherfucker, there it is. I was like, and you hear him like laugh, and it cuts to black. I'm like, yeah, come on, that's fun.
Well, this film is the Friday 5 of the Halloween films. This is what this is. You've got your fake Michael Myers. You've got everything else.
I know.
And,
I kept making the Roy jokes. Like,
this is Corey Cunningham is the Roy Burns of the Halloween universe. Is what he is. He will forever be known that.
Wasn't there somewhere in there was like a fake Mike when he got run over by a car or some shit in one of the movies?
Well, there were stupid teenagers dressed up as Michael in Halloween 2 and Halloween 4.
Yeah, like one got run over by a car or some shit. I was like, that would happen too. So,
but he wasn't. He was a kid pulling pranks. He wasn't actually killing anybody. So,
I thought that was maybe part of the joke. Like when Corey goes across the street and he gets smacked by that fucking car, like Final Destination style. I was like,
they run him into an ambulance or something with that car.
Yeah, he gets. I'm pretty sure that's the guy that Lori was going to go to the prom with. I think they even say that.
I think it was Ben Tramer. I think you're right. I'm pretty sure that was Ben Tramer.
Michael gets obliterated into. But
well, I mean, the bottom line is this movie is, like I said, to me, this is the worst Halloween film ever made. And I mean, initially, like I actually wrote it down. I had 2018 at number 10. Then I had Ends. Then I had H2O and Resurrection. And the more I watched this movie, Ends dropped clear to the bottom. That's how it went for me. And like I said, unless something magical happens, like, watch the extended cut where Lori dies. I'm never watching this movie again.
Well, that's the
only way. If Blumhouse wants me to watch this again, give me a Lori death scene and I'll watch it again. But other than that,
the one I described, I want to see that.
Yeah,
I love that. I would imagine they wrote multiple endings to where
I would say
which one fits the overarching story of this film, or even really the all three.
Because like some of the fun things is like seeing alternate endings to movies, especially horror movies, because horror movies can change drastically just from a different ending. Like I was telling you about 1408.
Yes.
And I'm weird squirrel moment, but it's related because I'm talking about this movie. When was it? Hollywood Video was going out of business, and they were selling all the movies. And they're like, just get it out of the door. I grabbed 1408 because I was like, I remember seeing it. It had come out maybe a few years before this point, so this is a while ago. I grabbed the movie, not even thinking like, I want 1408. I want this. I want this. I want this. I got out, and apparently that was it was only the alternate ending version of the movie, and I'm like, damn it.
Ooh.
Shit. I mean, it's fun, but I was like, it's like the one where John Cusack's character does die, and he's reunited with spoilers there, right? You haven't even seen that movie, where he's reunited with his dead daughter, and like Samuel L. Jackson sees them in like the cemetery, and he sees them in the rearview mirror, like walking off together. I'm like, okay, kind of a cool ending. But like the one we saw was he actually lived. He got out of the hotel room, but the big oh crap bomb drop moment is like they know their daughter's dead, but he's sitting there in his house with his wife, and they're moving boxes. And he's playing the voice of his dead daughter on that recorder. And it's like, oh shit, what? I'm like, and it ends there. I'm like, you see how drastic that could be just from one simple someone lived or died? And I'm like, that's wild. I'm like, either way of the movie, I'm like, that would be fun. I don't care.
What was that movie?
Thank you for bringing that.
The two endings that we recently watched where they're in the cave.
Oh, The Descent.
Yeah.
Because technically it stops at one point. But really, there is a little bit more. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Two endings to that.
You and I talked about
totally
this.
Changes it.
It does.
Resident Evil movie and everything. We talked about The Descent.
Yeah. Because I don't know how they're like, oh, it's too depressing. I'm like, the whole movie's depressing,
Right.
But that's the thing is, I'm like, God, this movie is just balls to the wall. It's dread. It's claustrophobic. Like, I'm not really claustrophobic, but I'm like, fuck that entire movie. I would not be climbing through a rock that was that close to my face, like just crawling through that close. Like, hell no. I know we work in a haunted cave. I'm not crawling through a space that is this big just for my body. Like, no, fuck that.
Yeah, you work in a cave that's actually very open.
Yes.
And people can walk through it one time. You don't work in
it's more of a cavernous than a cave. But
there's not like little Wendigo people crawling on the walls and shit trying to kill me.
Allegedly.
Look, man, I don't know what's in there. I'm just saying. But like, it's like just that little extra bit where I'm like, the one that the American audiences saw is like, oh, she gets out finally. I'm like, yeah, I know we want that story. We're like, she got out, and she's the ghost of her friend who she just basically left for dead. And it's like, oh crap. I'm like, oh, typical horror movie ending.
Sometimes you don't.
But then it keeps going. As soon as she screams, she wakes back up and she's still in the cave. I'm like, oh, fuck, that sucks.
Yeah,
And
it makes a huge
Right.
difference.
And I'm like, yeah,
Huge
she's sitting there over
difference.
the little fire that's on her torch, and it's pretending that it's the birthday cake for her like deceased daughter. I'm like, God, that sucks. And it leaves it there. I'm like, yeah, there's a reason why there's a sequel to it. You know, the Americans took it and made a sequel, and I'm like, yeah, but there really is no sequel because that's it. She's dead.
Mhm.
Well,
Yeah. Look at 128 hours where he passes out, cutting part of his arm off, and he entire 20-minute long scene of driving back to his home in the rain, missing arm and all this just for him to wake up because he passed out from blood loss. I'm like, shit, okay. I love that.
well, I mean, when it comes to, I mean, honestly, I mean, Frank, to kind of get back to your question here, no matter how they ended this film, you're not going to please everybody. You're going to please a certain small sect. Oh, I'm in this camp. I'm in that camp. I'm in that camp. You're going to piss off a lot of people. There's no way. Like I said, I think you would have pleased more people by killing them both. But let's be honest. You don't go to a Halloween movie to see Jamie Lee Curtis. You go to see Michael Myers. There's some of the most successful and well-liked Halloween films don't even have Jamie Lee Curtis as Laurie Strode in it. They have Michael Myers, and people like him just as much, if not more. So
that's why they dropped the anthology thing. They're like, oh crap,
right?
This is some money.
Right, he's the ticket. That's the reason why Halloween 4 is his mask is the poster, and in big orange letters it says "The Return of Michael Myers." Five is the revenge of Michael Myers. Yeah. 6 is the curse of Michael Myers. So they let you know who you're getting in the story. And I mean, like I said, no matter how they ended it, you're going to make a lot of people mad. But the way that they did it here, yes, like I said, points for creativity, but you didn't quite score the touchdown. You got to the goal line and had to kick a field goal, in my opinion. You didn't drive it home. So I don't know.
You don't get to spike the ball and fucking dump the Gatorade fucking out. Like, no.
There's no touchdown dance for Blumhouse, in my opinion.
No.
You might have won the game by a little bit, but you could have did better. You know?
Yeah, for those of you watching,
because I feel like I may be.
What's that?
I'm one of the few people who liked H20 because I feel like.
Oh.
I liked it.
God bless you.
It wasn't the best.
Well, yeah, on its own, if you didn't realize Resurrection was going to start happening, I'm like, oh, that's it. That's a fitting end. You finally got him. Cool.
Right.
I mean, that probably had one of the best fight scenes in that movie. Like, I don't know what it is, but seeing Michael keep himself propped up by one arm and then slowly raise himself down.
Oh, I hated that. I hated that.
Was weird.
That one arm pull up thing that drove me crazy.
But it actually, like, one of my favorite things when it comes to horror movie is, you know, it's one thing to see someone down the hallway and then you're being chased. There's nothing in your way, whatever. It's just a simple hallway. But her, like, under the tables and him just kind of, like, throwing each table, like, which table's going to be the right table. Stuff like that is when I'm like, ooh, I like that. Because that's creepy. Because is your table next? Is he going to go over to that one and miss, you know, because, but I like that one a little bit more. For some reason, I like the mask a little bit more on that version. And even Resurrection, for some reason, I just liked the mask in Resurrection and in H2O. Some people call it H2O.
You realize in Halloween Resurrection they use CGI masks and like 5 different in that movie, right?
I was like, yeah, wasn't that the weird one?
Actually, did not.
Yeah. There's like 6 different masks in that one movie alone. Go back and watch it. It's very different.
Yeah, for those of you watching on YouTube live right now, there is a poll in the chat. I should have put this out like in the beginning of the stream. I just didn't think I put this down. But let us know what you guys think. Did you like Halloween Ends? Was it a good ending? Was it a good movie? Do you like the visuals? I actually think the visuals were pretty good. But we'll start to wrap things up a little bit now, and I'll say something that's probably going to piss most everybody off. I didn't think it was the worst Halloween movie. I'm not a big fan of Season of the Witch. Didn't really like it. I'm not as big a Rob Zombie Halloween fan as Tex is. They were a bit too different for me from the Halloween stuff that I was used to. So I've put it up above those, not by a whole lot, but I actually thought ultimately it was a good movie. I think it would have been better if you would have made, instead of making it Michael Myers, if you would have made it just some other nameless killer, I think it probably would have gone off a little better, because I personally have certain expectations for a movie that says Halloween. You know what I mean? Because there are some characters you can fuck around with, but there are others you can't. And we when you talk about the Mount Rushmore of horror icons, Michael is one of the names that everybody puts up there. Michael Myers. I mean, Freddy Krueger, Jason, Leatherface. Leatherface is my personal fourth. Other people might swap one or two of those out, but ultimately, it's like 99% of people that Michael Myers is one of the top 3 horror icons ever. Put them in whatever order, he's in the top 3. So there's a level of expectation that I have from a movie that I know has Michael Myers and carries the Halloween name, that this movie didn't quite get it. It tried in a lot of places, but missed in a lot of places. I don't know why there was. It's not that I minded the Corey character. I don't know why there was such an emphasis on him when this really should have all been about. Look, for 40 years we've been building up to this final clash between Laurie and Michael. Why do we spend so much of this damn movie on Corey? I mean, if you'd have done that Halloween Kills, it would have made more sense. If you'd have done it the first of this new trilogy, it would have made more sense. This movie really, to me, needed to be about Laurie and Michael. Those were the 2 primary people that this movie should have focused on. And for some odd reason, look, this movie. What am I looking at here? I pulled up a couple of trivia pieces on this. Yeah, this. Where is it at? This is the lowest kill count for Michael Myers in any Halloween film with just 3. He only kills 3 people in this.
I was going to say, I don't think he killed hardly anyone.
The majority of the kills are from
the
Corey
cop,
Cunningham.
the nurse, and Corey. Those are the ones he kills.
The previous record holder was the original Halloween in 1978. But so it's like he doesn't even put down most of the kills in this movie. And that, to me, it takes away a little bit from what this movie should have been, because you've been building up. Imagine this. Imagine for a moment we've been building up over, for all you MCU fans out there, 22 movies or whatever it was in 12 years. You build up to the big fight between Thanos and the Avengers.
All of the Avengers.
And Thanos slips and falls and breaks his hip and dies. I'm like,
give me the ultimate cut of Endgame where that happens.
Right. When you build that up for, and we got twice as much build up for this movie, if you think about it, as we got for Avengers. Not as many movies, but 40 years of Michael Myers haunting Haddonfield, haunting Laurie Strode, haunting the people of Haddonfield, and having a great impact on that. The fact that this movie, that he's almost a B player in his own movie, disappoints me. This is one of the things I said I didn't like about Thor. He's the title character, and he's like the 3rd or 4th most important person in the entire film. Same thing with Michael in this movie. They didn't make him important enough, in my opinion. He should have. Now, it was one thing to have Corey kill some people. I get it. Kill his mom, that makes sense because she was such a psycho beast. Whatever. He needed to knock a couple people off to make that full transition into the psychotic bad guy that he was going to become. But this all should have centered around the final confrontation between Michael and Laurie, and it didn't really start to focus on that until like the last 15-20 minutes of the movie.
Michael was only, I actually calculated, Frank, he's in this movie about 8 minutes and 45 seconds.
Yeah,
Michael is in this movie. That's counting the 20 seconds that he's in the Jesus position on top of the car. He's being all decrepit in the sewer, the flashback scenes from the previous films. So you got less than 9 minutes, and I was being generous. I padded it a little bit of time of Michael in his own story. So you're completely right.
Yeah, that to me is something I didn't quite understand, but ultimately I did think it was a good movie because it was a good ending. I don't have the hate for Laurie Strode and for Jamie Lee Curtis that Tex does.
All right.
I like Jamie Lee Curtis from a multitude of things, from True Lies to A Fish Called Wanda and all this other stuff that her entire body of work to me has been fantastic. But she is She is the first. I believe she is the first final girl. She is the one that.
No. That would be Miss Sally.
Sally Hard.
That was Sally.
Chainsaw Massacre of
Chainsaw
1974. Thank you.
Chainsaw Massacre.
Come on,
I forgot.
Hold
Get
on.
it together.
It was all within 4 years of one another. I mean, it's whatever. I'm old.
Like no, it was Texas Chainsaw. Trust me, it was.
But she is one of the final girls. I mean, you think of 3 or 4 characters when it comes to the final girls, and she's usually the first one you think of because. Well, Halloween. I mean, I guess maybe Halloween has gone on to be a little bit bigger than Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Maybe. I mean, I don't know the box office numbers to compare it to for that, but yeah. I mean, like I said, personally, my favorite horror movie of all time is the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But I mean, Jamie Lee Curtis is the one final girl that has kind of lasted throughout this entire franchise. Whereas it seems like all the other final girls, they're there for a movie or two, then they're not for various reasons. They eventually die or they just don't come back for whatever reasons. She's the one who has been the one constant in her franchise, where other final girls haven't been.
Maybe the only other one who has done that is like Sidney Prescott.
I was about to say.
The Scream movies. Yeah.
Because if
you want to go modern day, it's got to be Sidney. There's no way around it. Yeah, and they even copy Sidney with Laurie in this film. Where was it Scream 4? Sidney wrote a book. Laurie's doing it in this film, so they just stole that from her too. So
yeah, someone asked. They had like a little thing. It was like, not maybe like a who's better or like maybe who's a bigger final girl. They're like, well, do you say Laurie Strode or do you say like Sidney Prescott? I'm like, I don't know, man. I mean, I feel like Sidney Prescott gets more shit done.
It's true.
She don't fuck around.
Yeah,
she's more effective than Jamie Lee Curtis and Laurie Strode.
Yeah, I was sitting there like, Sally Hardesty did it first, but I mean, She did get kind of shit on in that new movie. Like, she was there for like they ripped that from Laurie Strode, where all of a sudden she's like this like Texas Ranger badass, and I'm like, yeah, that's Laurie Strode from the first.
My ultimate final girl will always be Scout Taylor Compton, who played Laurie Strode in Rob Zombie's Halloween. I love her interpretation of the character. I know I'm in the minority when it comes to Halloween fans. I don't care. She is my favorite. No arguments, no doubts.
You also have a strange heart-on for everything Rob Zombie, though. So
yes, I did. Yes, I did.
Monsters.
Maybe we should do like a review of the Devil's Rejects series or something.
Oh yeah,
that'd be fun.
Free the 3. I love those.
Yeah, tutti fucking fruity.
But ultimately, I ended up thinking it was a decent enough movie. I mean, I don't have the very, very passionate feelings about horror that you guys do, but I do like my horror. I do like the genre, and I did grow up with, the Halloween movies as well as the Friday the 13th and, Nightmare on Elm Street and stuff like that. The best era of horror, in my opinion.
Yes.
So I did want, the 70s and 80s was the best, but it was a decent enough. It was a finale, that's what I really wanted out of this. Is I wanted something final. Either Laurie dies, or either Laurie and Michael dies, or Michael dies. That to me was the most logical stuff for it to happen. I was hoping that Laurie and Michael were going to die, but I wanted some finality. They gave me the finality that I wanted. Hopefully, look. Even Jason Blum said that this isn't going to be the last Halloween movie. There's going to be more Michael on screen. I want this to be the ending of the iteration that started back in 1978. I want that story to end here. Now, if you want to, like I said, if you want to reboot it and modernize it, make it happen in modern day, new actors, new characters, new storyline, new universe, I think it's the best way to do it. And I think that's probably what they're going to do at some point in the next 5 to 6 years. But I ultimately, I went into this movie with very low expectations because I know what I had heard. Nick from Lost River Drive-In he had heard all kinds of spoilers about stuff, and he told me a few things, didn't tell me a lot of things. Yeah, I know Tex had a bunch of them, but hearing what I had heard about Corey and things like that, I was kind of like, I don't really know if this movie is going to give me what I want out of what's supposed to be the final chapter of this whole story. But it ended up hitting a lot of good notes for me. Some bad ones, of course, but a lot of good ones. I mean, look, you can never knock the kills in a slasher film. I mean, I guess you can, but I mean, for the most part, these were pretty good. They're what I expected out of a Halloween movie.
Well, you got to see of them anyway.
Yeah. But ultimately, I think it's a better movie than a lot of people have given it credit for. I mean, look, it's doing a lot better at the box office than a lot of people said it would. I did not at all expect this movie to do 15 to 20 million domestically in its opening weekend. I thought that was kind of the high point. But I mean, it did 40 something or what, 41, and it's done almost 60 million worldwide its opening weekend. That's not a bad chunk of change. I mean, yes, it's October. Yes, we're in the scary season, and maybe generally horror movies are going to just do very well this time of year anyway. But this one is a little different. It's the ending of a big franchise. You could have released this in the spring. I think it would have done pretty much the same numbers. But yeah, ultimately, I think it's a better movie than a lot of people have given it credit for. I don't love it as much as some people I know do, some YouTubers do. I don't hate it nearly as much as Tex and Jeremy, but
fuck this movie.
But yeah,
sorry.
I understand many of the points you guys have made, but I also do see some positives in these. Broody Gamer, I don't know. What are some of your final thoughts on this thing?
At the end of the movie, like I said, I ended up looking at everybody and going, well, that's it. It's definitely one of those. It didn't end how I wanted it to end, because I mean, I've heard everybody give their opinions on how a good ending should be. I've kind of fallen head over heels for a lot of good ideas, especially Rachel's with the anchor grab.
I love her.
But like, it's one of those, can I go back now and watch the 78 version Halloween, than the new Halloween, which I hate that they went Halloween Kills. Like, couldn't have done like Halloween Resurgence. I don't know. It's just something.
It's like when they made Mortal Kombat and then they made Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that's not confusing. Thanks.
Can I watch that still? And I know for a fact I'll still watch them. I'll still have my little marathons. I don't care. But knowing what's going to happen now, just like you're going to get put in a wood chipper. Like,
yeah,
to me, it was kind of like,
we need a new version of the song. We'll do the Michael mash. There you go.
He's more of a goulash at this point, but I'll take it.
Yeah, true.
It was a bit of a bittersweet kind of an ending for me, because I'm like, this isn't really the way I wanted to end. And at the same time, as I even said earlier, like, I'm sure there's a lot of people who are like, this needs to end, but I kind of didn't want it to end, because I've always enjoyed, Michael has always been my favorite of all amount of Freddy, Jason, Ghostface, even though there's nothing paranormal about him whatsoever. It was just it was fun. I enjoy it. And now that I'm sitting here going, okay, now are we done? Is John Carpenter going to kind of be like, yeah, you're all done. No one's making, I'm taking the rights away. Is that going to happen?
He doesn't even own the rights.
But like, I don't know. Like, I feel like at this point, sooner or later, we're going to start getting Michael in space. Michael versus Plant.
Michael X. That's the next movie. That's what they can do.
There
Give it to us.
Metal Mask.
Come on, Blumhouse. Make that one. There you go.
Like
Uber Michael. You know how great Uber Jason was.
Is he going to have a metallic mask?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Hey,
Please.
then that god awful CGI mask that looked kind of metallic in the first place doesn't seem so funny
Yeah,
anymore,
that's what I'm
does
saying.
it?
Yeah.
But yeah, like, final thoughts of the movie. It was a movie. It can't
That
say
is
it
true.
The movie was a movie.
because it
The
is.
Burning Gamer 2022. Put it on a shirt.
You can't say it didn't have Michael Myers. You know,
Well, I can almost say that. I can almost say that.
it says, you know, it's exactly what it says on the tin. It's Halloween ends. You know, it
Evil
ended.
ends tonight.
Evil dies tonight. It died.
Evil died tonight, unfortunately.
He lied. Evil didn't die tonight. Evil died tonight 4 years later. So you know what?
Right.
And I don't even think it happened on Halloween night. Legit.
That makes that chant much different. Evil die in 4 years. Evil die in 4 years. It makes it very different.
4 more years.
4 years.
Kind of takes the piss out of it a little bit.
Michael's the
Yeah.
president. I don't care.
There was a lot of potential here. There was a lot of, it could have been done better. This could have been done better. I wish that's what we got, but we didn't. So at that right, oh God, I need to not watch whatever's on TV as I'm talking to you guys. It is what it ended. So
Well, As far as me and finals go, this is a 4 out of 10 for me, and that's I want to give it lower, but I'm giving it a 4 just because I gave Hellraiser a 4, and I can't put Halloween below Hellraiser. That's just me. But I did not like this movie. I'll never watch it again. You emasculated the shape. You gave us a Wish.com version of Michael Myers that just killed himself because his grandma's girlfriend says that he can't have her. You've wasted one of the greatest storylines in horror for a cash grab. This movie's awful. I will never watch this again. I will never recommend this movie. And this is just a whole bunch of logs on that fire of me hating Jamie Lee Curtis. And I'm a hardcore straight edge Rob Zombie fan, or however you put it, Frank. There, I will never argue that. I'll fly that flag proudly. But this movie, if you're just looking for something mindless to go do on Halloween night, sure, go watch this movie. Why not? Whatever. But it's like, do what Frank did. Go in with no expectation because you're not going to get anything out of it. They wasted the 78
for it right now.
Hey, there it is. Nice.
And half the shots aren't even fucking Michael. It's just Corey.
Well, they were trying to tell us something, weren't they?
Mhm.
But
Text right off.
yeah, so I don't know, Rachel and Jeremy, what are some of your final thoughts on this before I go to the chat and see what some of the viewers have been saying?
You want to go first?
Sure.
Yeah.
So, the first act of this movie I enjoyed and also forgot I was watching a Halloween movie. I enjoyed it because I love a good underdog falls in love story. That's what that was. That whole first act was
Oh, is that what I am
underdog
too?
falling in. So stop it. Who's the underdog here? Which one of us is the underdog?
I don't
Now she's
know.
telling you how she really feels
Exactly.
there.
No, we don't know which one.
I
is the
said this was
underdog
our
in this
second
one.
date, and I got all cute and shit, and you were like, "Oh, this guy."
This motherfucker.
She felt bad for you. The
Wow.
truth comes out 4 years later.
When
The
I
truth
said
comes out.
earlier,
That's it.
when I said
My
earlier
gosh.
I related as me as the underdog. Okay, it wasn't. Anyways.
Oh, so this is all your fault. Okay.
Essentially, yes, this is all my fault.
Okay,
Anyways,
whatever.
no. The first act I enjoyed and forgot I was watching a Halloween movie. The second act confused me greatly. It was like, is Corey possessed? Is the power transferring to Corey? Is Corey Michael? What is happening? Why didn't Michael kill him? Why didn't Corey tell Lori and what's her face that he saw
Allison.
Michael? Yes, Allison,
Or
whatever her name is.
yeah,
I
Right.
bad with names. They were all
I
there.
forgot her name too.
And then the third act, I was like, all right, so where okay, so
Fight!
we're fighting now. And then I swear to you, the ending that I explained was what I was fully expecting.
Man.
I was in my chair bracing myself for it.
They should
And it did
they
not
should hire
happen.
you to go rewrite this movie. I
Because
will second that motion. Yes.
I was waiting for it because it's like he's like you said, crucifix position on
Right.
on the car. I'm like, okay,
Right.
this implies that he's not actually dead, even though she slit his wrists and
his neck.
Yeah.
Like,
Even though in
I
the
don't
last
believe
movie he
he's
got shot
dead.
15 times,
Exactly.
yeah,
He's
cut
not
his
dead
throat's
from
gonna do
that.
something.
Like, I
Yeah.
didn't believe he was dead. And then, I'm like, okay, something weird is about to happen here. He's going to grab Lori's ankle and they're both going in the car shredder. And that didn't happen. And then, oh, it's a happy ending. I'm like, is this even a horror movie? So that's my thoughts.
Yeah, you didn't even. That's a classic horror trope. You could have had that last little final gotcha moment right at the end
Exactly.
there.
That's what I thought was happening.
I would have even laid the Dave Chappelle type, gotcha, bitch.
Exactly.
That would have been great, and there she goes. Or even shit like Frank said, fucking just Corey just flying
That would
fucking
have been
tackles
cool
her
also.
ass.
Just
That would have been
everyone's
awesome.
Everyone's in the car grinder now.
I don't know. So I guess my thing was I did not share your sentiment of the beginning. I think I
I'm
stayed
a sap, so
well, no, it's not even that. I was just like, I think I stayed confused probably until not even say the fight. I think maybe until No, I was still kind of confused when he just walked in there and walked the fuck out with Michael's mask. I was like, what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah, you just punched Michael Myers in the face and took his mask. How did you manage that?
Like I said, he's a senior citizen. That's a hate crime. I don't.
It's
I don't care how evil you are.
Papa Myers here.
Right.
Papa Mikey. No.
Papa just want to tell you a story about how he killed some people back in '78, but no. I'm tired of this, Grandpa. I don't know. I think it's like, again, I tried to just like, I mean, I don't know what to expect. And we've also been kind of tainted by the whole, you can't even take I mean, I know Frank has all got hard-ons for trailers that are good. I'm like, you can't even take a trailer at face value anymore because they'll just straight up lie to you.
The kills were better in the trailer than in the movie. Go back and watch the trailer. They show you more of the kills in that than they do the actual film. I don't understand this.
It was badass. It showed what's going on.
They do get you going a little better, but I'm like, yeah, but it is only one little snippet of the. I mean, I know, not like you need the hype. Like we said, this is it. This is it ending. You know, people are going to watch it, but I don't know. I was seriously just kind of confused for most of the movie. I'm like, okay, what the fuck? Or okay, that was weird. The hell? Why are you talking about fucking whipping your tits out, Jamie?
That was weird.
Yeah, that wasn't an odd piece of dialogue.
I was like, okay, calm down. Calm your tits.
I don't need to see Jamie Lee Curtis 70-year-old boobs. I love boobs more than anybody on the planet. I don't want to see her. No, thank you. So,
yeah, and then like I said, I'm with Frank. Like I was immediately just annoyed the fuck out of by Allison. I was like, what are you doing? What the hell? And I'm like, yeah, you're at a job where I'm like, yeah, this is enough time to where I'm like, you're at a job where I'm like, I knew you had to have more. You don't just probably walk in and get that job. And she was also in a position for even a promotion, which carries more to it. So I'm like, why now are you having this weird like, screw you, Grandma. I love him. You don't understand. I'm like, that's
teenage angst. You're in your 20s. Grow up.
I'm like, oh,
yeah,
look,
she's like 24 years old at least. Yeah, you're not young anymore.
And I'm like, yeah, I ride on the back of my boyfriend and his little badass motorcycle. I'm like, okay. And then I thought, okay, maybe the two of them are gonna run off and do their thing. I'm like, sure, whatever. Go fuck off to the next town, and then maybe let Lori and Michael have it out.
Their moment.
So that's what I thought, and I was like, okay, we're getting to it. And then I started seeing the thing with Corey, and I thought, okay, cool. If we take this somewhere, and then we just didn't, I was like, okay, again, another idea that you had to fall on your face. And then the fight was, I mean, that's where I was kind of like, okay. Jesus, shit. And then, I mean, yeah, when he ripped his fucking hand out of that knife, I was like, oh, shit. God damn it. Here we go.
Michael's poor hands take more punishment than anything in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, yeah, and I appreciate that callback too. I'm like, oh yeah, she was hiding in the closet. I thought she was gonna poke him with the hanger again. She did grab the sewing needle and was gonna go to stab. And she got stabbed in turn, which I thought, okay, cool, irony.
That's where I was like, stop.
Yeah, I'm like the little callbacks. The callbacks were kind of fun.
Yeah. With the flashbacks included.
Yeah,
flashbacks,
and I'm like, you're getting it, and then the fight happened, and I was kind of sitting like that. I'm like, okay, here we go. And then I don't know. And I'm like, you're telling me that a whole mob of people, I mean, Haddonfield felt kind of bigger in a weird way in the Kills movie. And then it was like, what? A group of like 20 people? You're telling me that this whole town that got like paranoid for 40 years over Michael Myers and like a small little church group showed up? Like, what the fuck was that? No one else wanted to come see that? I don't know. People used to do this for fun back in the day. You used to go to the hangings.
Take your kids. It's a nice
we're going to go out for go for a Sunday hanging. Like, come on.
Yeah.
That'd be a big fucking event. And I don't know. And I know we all, I hate to be like, well, I wanted this. And I know we sound like the whiny fucking fanboys, but I'm like,
oh yeah, we're all,
but all of us had like something that would have at least
improved.
There's been so many good ideas that just the five of us here have said. If you just took part of them and added to what's already there, we could have made a better film. and we're just
Are
bouncing
we
off
the
one another.
are we the monkeys in the room that write Shakespeare? That fucking analogy.
Right,
Well,
right.
If we are, we made a better movie tonight just off of Rachel's one good idea.
Yeah.
You know.
So that's kind of where I was at. I didn't like I didn't even really think of that. Where like, oh, it's gonna piss you off. I'm like, okay, thanks.
Why would
I
you
didn't
say
end.
that?
Yeah, I was like, I don't know why you'd go that way. But I didn't leave the theater pissed. I was just kind of again more
I was
confused.
Yeah, confused was also
like,
my sentiment after leaving.
That's it. I didn't. I mean, if you want, like, when you have that big boom finale, like when I walked out of Endgame, I was like, yeah, woo, that's how you do it. You know.
Right.
But this, I was kind of like, all right, that was fun. That was a movie.
That
It was a movie.
There you go.
I don't know. It just didn't. I don't know how. I mean, I know we just said I don't know how we would do it, but I'm like, I'm pretty sure we all just said how we would do it, and it would still be kind of better and in line with what would you maybe expect from a horror movie, and let alone a Halloween movie. So there's still a proper way we could have put this thing to bed, but
one job.
Evil sleeps tonight.
Evil takes
tonight
in the jungle, the concrete jungle.
Hashtag not my
tonight. I don't know.
I'm gonna go ahead and put this out there, but hashtag not my Michael Myers.
Yeah, I was like, someone's got to make that trending.
So, I'm just gonna go ahead and do that.
Not my Halloween.
Hashtag not my Halloween. Hashtag not my Michael Myers. Get it on Twitter now.
Hashtag Halloween died tonight. Yeah. What do you think, Buttercup? What do you think?
I think you were gone.
I think Michael just needed a nice hard candy.
He is that age, man. He's got pocket candy and shit.
I'll give you my mask for a caramel chew.
You want to see a magic trick, kid? We're gonna play hide the knife. I don't know.
I do want to go to the chat, see what some of you guys have been saying over the course of the stream. We've been going 2.5 hours now. I expected to go about 2, but we're way over. We're talking about this one. Ithaca Costanza chimed in earlier saying, as I click on it, this movie was so bad I never bothered watching it. How do you know if it was bad? I mean, give the movie a chance.
Because we said so for the last 2.5 hours.
Hey, I watched this thing 5 times. You couldn't do it once. Are you serious? I'm offended, sir.
And he hates the movie.
And I hate the movie. Yeah, I watched it 5.
He hate-watched the fuck out of this movie.
Yes. You ain't kidding.
I'm not a masochist, but
I did this for you people, so I knew exactly what I was talking about.
We do.
I am your martyr.
The nostalgia critic. I do it so you don't have to. Yeah.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
But Bobby says, someone said, what if the movie ended with Laurie's funeral and John Tate, Jamie Lloyd, and Allison are all there, and they look at each other and say, who are you? That
bring all the timelines together. I love it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Huh.
Dang it, Bobby. You got a good
maybe.
point.
I don't know. I don't know that there was any other connective tissue at any other point, especially over the last 3 films, that would have connected anyway. Because if you just drop it in there, it looks uneven. It looks like it makes no sense.
The whole franchise didn't look that way. All right.
Well,
not as bad as that would have done it.
The Blumhouse Halloweens erased everything except for the original. So the H2O timeline, the Thorn timeline, the zombie films, all of those never happened. So all you had was 78, 18 kills and ends. So.
Yeah. So it wouldn't have made any sense to bring them in. MK Kratos says someone is defending this crapshoot of a movie on Twitter. Well, one of them just showed up in the chat a second ago at Lost River Drive, and he loves the movie. It's like,
well, the Lost River Drive needs his head checked because this is not a Halloween movie.
Look, people are going to defend. Look, there's a lot of movies out there that I think suck that people love. There's a lot of movies out there that other people hate that I love. Look, it's all subjective. It's movie is art. You like what you like. You don't like what you don't like, and you go back to it if you like it. If not, you don't. MK Kratos also says the marketing of this movie was a huge bait and switch with the plot.
I think you guys said the same thing.
Well, tell you what. Here's why I don't necessarily mind that. Trailers are not supposed to give you everything. Trailers are known to give you a little bit of a taste, and then also to not try to spoil anything. It's like, and we've talked about this with Marvel a bunch of times. I mean, every Marvel movie trailer that's ever come out, they've altered the scenes in CGI so that you don't see the big reveal. I mean, in Civil War, you don't see Spider-Man in the whole face-off scene.
That's removing things, though. They added stuff into the trailers that was not in the movie. I feel like that's slightly different.
But it's still lying though at its core, isn't it?
I guess, but
you're showing the Hulk running through the Wakandan forest by Thanos, but Hulk isn't actually really in this movie except for the first
it is protecting it just for the sake of like trying to not spoil it. I think what you were saying is like it flat out, like I said, I was waiting for that line of that thing to come to fruition where she's like, oh, maybe the only way this stops is if I die too. I'm like,
that's
okay.
also what I was waiting.
And she's been saying that for 3 films. That's the worst part about it.
Pull the damn rug out, and they didn't even do that.
Right.
Like, oh, all right.
I think that it is still lying either way, yes, but there is a difference between adding something that's not in it rather than taking away
trying to cover something up to keep it under wraps.
Keep it a secret rather than, oh, here, this is going to be in it. This is here, take the bait, hook.
Yeah. You know what else would have been actually kind of cool? Just religiously shadowing. Like, I think we said it, and I meant to say it earlier when, like, I know we already had the whole stupid crucifix thing with Michael. Wouldn't it have been funny, like you said, if they both had died and Allison walked in? Because, like, he's on the table like this, and then, like, Laurie's down there, and they're almost doing that. What's that painting where they're, like, almost touching fingers?
Yeah, Adam and God.
Yeah, where, like, he's, like, on the counter like that, and she's on the ground, and they're almost, like, touching fingers. Like, that would have been funny.
There's even symbolism beyond that. Go back and watch that scene where Michael is pinned to the table. He's got one hand up and one down, and that's that whole as above, so below.
Yeah.
I was wondering, I'm like, it's not the T pose, it was this. And I'm like,
right. So he's doing like the one up, one down thing. And if you look on that one hand, he's got these 2 fingers missing right from the shotgun. Well, that's also in that same statue of the Baphomet, I believe it is. When you look at that, he's got his hand the same way. So I don't know if that was accidental or they just threw that in there under the cover.
I'd like to think they were that smart to realize that, but I don't know.
They would have had to, because to have one arm up and one down, that was intentional. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Moving on, it said MK Kratos also says, personally, Halloween Resurrection was better than this, and that's saying
I
something.
said the same thing.
Yeah.
I said the same thing.
Yikes.
Kratos is on the money. Like I said, this is the worst Halloween movie ever made. Resurrection is better than this film.
I checked like the scores for that movie, and it is god awful. So that's really saying
well, because you have Buster Rhymes karate kicking Michael Myers.
I know. I was trying to remember, like, is that the one with Buster Rhymes? He did that weird back shit. Yeah, that is that one.
Yes.
God damn it.
Karate Rhymes.
Dude, I pushed that shit so far out of my head, I almost forgot it was in that movie. Yeah.
Right.
MK Kratos also says, I've been waiting for this review all week. 4 guys and a woman tearing this movie apart. Hell, this made Halloween Resurrection look like an Oscar Best Picture nominee. Look, I don't think I've torn. Look,
title is something else.
Yeah, I don't think I've torn it apart. I criticize the parts that I don't like, and I talk to now. Jeremy and Tex have torn the movie apart, but I mean, like I said, teach their own. Yeah. Let's see what else is going on. Well, JSP had a question earlier. It said, speaking of franchises, has anyone played that new Evil Dead game? Well, Jeremy, I guess it would mostly be you and maybe Brooding Gamers, since you guys are gamers in the area.
Yeah. I think, no, I have not. I've seen like gameplay of it, and I thought it looked really interesting. I was like, okay, cool. Honestly, I mean, the other thing that brings to my mind is Dead by Daylight is always a fun game, because you have Leatherface, Jason, Michael, Freddy, Ghostface.
They have all the franchises.
Ash is in there, yeah. Ash is in there now. I mean, they have other characters like from other survivors of movies. Like they have Laurie Strode in there. They have, What?
I'm gonna go play it just so I can kill Laurie Strode.
There might be. And then there's like the original, the original idea characters. I can't think.
Final Girls?
No, yeah, they have. I said they have the Final Girls too. I meant like there's the killers that were in the game first that were like original ideas. Like they weren't like any of these big franchises. But like that's the cool, and that's the funny thing. Michael was my fucking favorite in that game. He was the one I actually used as the killer, because God, and trust me, I tried to give Leatherface a chance. I really did. It was bad. But I was like, the way Michael's abilities just snowball. Oh my good God, it's terrible.
Michael not in Mortal Kombat yet. That's what pisses me the fuck off. Everyone game but Michael.
Because they've had
that is true. They had Jason, Freddy, and Leatherface.
Yeah. No.
MK Kratos also says, we were talking about The Exorcist earlier. The original Exorcist was great by itself, but a modern trilogy for me is on the lines of pass me a bleach on the rocks, bartender.
Kratos, I'll be
drink
sitting next
that.
to you taking
I
a
will.
double. I'll drink
Another.
that.
Right.
Look, though, I maintain what I say about remakes. If you can, anything's open for a remake. You can remake anything. Some of them are going to work, some of them aren't. Honestly, I'd like to see them focus remakes on movies that bombed really bad and weren't very good but had great stories.
Ooh.
That's
Yeah.
what I would do. I would take
Yeah.
terrible movies like Battlefield Earth and I would remake those, try to put them together.
I'm
and
doing
make
my
them
part.
Yeah, but look, bottom line is if they remake a movie you like and that movie's
Starship
great,
Troopers.
then if that movie's great, then you have two movies to enjoy. That's good. If they remake it and the movie sucks, you always have the original to go back and enjoy. You can remake Star Wars.
Yeah.
You can do it. You can start over again with Luke, Leia, and Han, put different actors in there and do the whole thing again. I mean, it'll turn out the way it turns out. And if those movies all suck, then I always have the original series of movies to go back to enjoy for the rest of my life. I don't have to watch those again. So it's not really important. I say remake it all. Look, either it's going to suck or it's going to be awesome. It's a 50-50 shot. If it sucks, just don't watch it. If it's awesome, you have another awesome movie to watch. So I say remake whatever.
Remake Jaws. Let's see how we do that.
Please do.
Yeah. And let's see, MK Kratos also says that now Jamie Lee Curtis wants to do a sequel to Freaky Friday after this movie.
Yeah, I
so
heard
that should tell
that.
you how much she cared for this movie. Actually, I don't look. I think the quote was not that she wants it to get made. I think someone asked her about it, and she just kind of like off the cuff said, "I would love to do a second movie. We could do this whole thing, blah blah blah." And she just kind of threw an idea out there. Whether there's actually any discussions anywhere in some office at Disney in California to actually do a sequel, I don't know. I've never heard anything about it.
Jamie
I
Lee
know.
Curtis needs to go back to making her yogurt commercials that make you go poop.
Yeah.
Stay
Yeah.
and quit ruining movies is what she needs to do.
Yeah, you want to do Freaky Friday? I heard you won't ask Lindsay Lohan. You coward. You won't.
Right.
You won't do it.
But it's Disney, so Disney's going to do whatever. JSP says, so am I to understand that basically they borrowed from Friday the 13th Part 5?
Yes.
Kind of.
Ripped it off completely, yes.
But look, here's the thing, though. I say this a lot. It's like you could say that one movie
He's
rips
got
off
blue
another.
chevrons, huh?
Right.
That would be him.
You can always say that one movie rips off another, but I mean, come on. Every movie boils down to a basic plot line that has been used in a million movies before. So if you're going to boil it down
No.
to that point, then whatever. Look, how many boy meets girl rom-coms have there been? They all boil down to the same thing: boy meets girl. So is this movie stealing from this movie, which is stealing from this movie, which is stealing from that movie, which is stealing from this movie 20 years ago, which is stealing from that movie 50 years ago?
Well, I was thinking that with like at this point, like I'm kind of, I know I keep saying make something original. I'm like, yes, how many, like you said, how many stories or even a basic plot premise can you do at this point? I'm like, I know because it's been done. Because I thought about the same thing with music. Music has been around even longer than that, and there's like people that are like trying to sue Led Zeppelin for having a song that has the same four chords. I'm like, you know that every damn song has the same four chords. You can't sue them for some piece of music written 3,000 years ago that had the same four notes.
And even
There's only
more
so
modern,
many.
Even more modern. You guys on YouTube, the React channel tried to copyright the word
Oh, yeah,
react
fuck
and the
them.
whole idea of reacting to things.
You
They tried
can't-
to copyright
You
that.
can't take
You
that.
can't do that.
You don't own that.
You
That's
don't
stupid.
own reacting to things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, crazy guy goes around killing people. That's the premise of like 95% of all horror movies.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Did
Well,
Friday the 13th rip off Halloween and Halloween ripped off?
Well, I mean,
You know.
that's why you have the different story in it. You have the different killer. They have different, I don't know, say abilities and shit like that. That's where it starts to diverge. But yes, essentially, for whatever reason, they go around killing people because why not? I don't know.
technically you're right, but in the aspect of a horror slasher genre, this is no different than A New Nightmare, Friday 5, Jason Goes to Hell, multiple versions of different slashers, because basically what Halloween's Ends is it's a mix of Friday 5 and Christine. You put those two movies together, this is what Halloween's Ends is at the end of the day. No different.
JSP also says, honestly, that's one of the main reasons I don't like Alien. It's a solid 45 minutes before we get to see a facehugger. Well, the
Alien's a
first
great movie,
Alien, in the first Alien, that
1
makes
is a
sense.
masterpiece.
It built up and it was just boom
Yeah.
when it went off. Yeah.
In the first Alien, you need that build up. Once you get to the sequels of
Yes.
the movies, you already know that the creature's there, so seeing it early in the movie makes
Right.
sense. But when you're first introducing it to the world, you have to have a little bit of a build up.
I mean,
so,
Jaws
Well-
did that too. Jaws, you don't even see the shark really until like the end.
yeah.
Well, okay, perfect example within the Halloween genre. In Halloween Ends, you get less than 9 minutes of Michael Myers. In Halloween 78, you get about 10 minutes of Michael Myers. But do you know why it's different? Because those 10 minutes in the Halloween 78 are used completely different. You see Michael Myers all throughout the film. That 10 minutes is spread out.
Building.
He pops up behind a bush. Oh, he's in the car. Oh, did I see him? Didn't I see him? You constantly
He's in the
feel his
sheets.
presence. Yeah, he's in the sheets. Whereas in Halloween Ends, you don't see him, and Corey Cunningham gets all the good stuff, and Michael's over there having a stroke when he kills people. So, what are you going to do? It's the context of it.
They even gave Corey that little classic, like where he's sitting out on the hedge, like half looking at Lori, and I was like,
Right.
Yeah. Really?
Right. They took everything away from Michael to give to Corey for him to just kill himself. So why even waste it?
But if you had full scent on that, I would have been okay with it. Because I was like, if you are setting that up, then do it. Damn it.
Right.
Don't be like, well, I'm gonna run off with your granddaughter. No, you're not. Damn it.
Like I said, this is Halloween.
Gotcha.
The Twilight cut. If I can't have her, nobody can. Okay, Edward, because that's all you are. You're just a sad vampire at this point.
JSP also says, as far as I'm concerned, none of these guys holds a candle to one Ashley J. Williams.
Oh, Ashley Slashy, yes. I love me some Evil Dead.
Nobody can.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to tell me you can't flip a shotgun and be like,
this is my boomstick.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love it.
Let's see. RL Studio and Composition. What's going on? He's new to the chat, I think. He said, personally, I feel the saga was finished perfectly. What stood out to me was their approach to the relationship between love and evil.
I think if you look at it like that, from that viewpoint, yes, it ended.
But why are we doing that? That's not a Halloween. I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I like mindless shit. I don't know.
From that perspective, when like what I was talking about with that first half of the movie, that rise of an underdog feeling.
Yeah.
Like
that's a movie.
Right.
I liked that, and it made sense as it went through.
Bullied kid turns evil.
Yeah,
makes sense.
Well, yeah,
happens. I don't know.
And that could have worked if you were doing a trilogy of films about Corey and Allison's relationship, but it doesn't work when you're telling the end of a story that started 40 years ago about two other characters. There's the problem.
I feel like maybe they did almost self-insert there with that one redheaded chick where I'm like, was so unforgettable for the fact that
yeah,
she was in there twice. She was like, wouldn't it be funny if you like dated Michael Myers? LOL. I'm like, was that like your writer's room pitch and that was you put it in the movie?
Yeah.
Be funny. I was like, yeah, because that's kind of what you're doing.
Yeah,
and I thought, well, that'd be an interesting dynamic. Because that's gonna be
this is a film of wasted opportunity.
Like you're gonna have grandma in the corner just tapping her chair on the wall, whatever the fuck that was, being like, so you want to date my granddaughter, huh? Like, what?
It kind of seemed like Lori wanted Corey because when she first brings him over, well, maybe you think he's cute, Grandma, and then she does the whole well, just show your tits, blah blah blah. I think Lori was into him a little bit. I'm not quite sure though.
I don't think she was into him. I think she recognized that he was. I compare him a little bit to Arthur in the Joker movie. He's not.
This was very Joker. I got that vibe too.
He's not the Joker from the start. He's kind of on the verge of slipping into madness.
One bad day.
But it's that one thing that pushes someone over the edge. So it's like he already had this situation.
Quite literally, he got pushed over the bridge.
Yeah, he already had this situation with the kid that was not his fault. He's totally innocent. He was a moron, sure, but I mean, he didn't kill the kid intentionally. But he's been kind of ostracized and he gets belittled by this town that he lives in. And then he has that moment to where he runs into those assholes in the bridge, the band dorks. They throw him off the bridge, and he ends up almost literally landing on top of Michael's little hidden lair. And that's the part that pushes him over the edge. Lori sees this because she's got a pretty good idea of what the madness looks like, and she's trying to be the one that kind of pulls him back from the abyss. And that's her biggest failure in the movie is she can't save this kid. He ends up getting absorbed by the evil that is Michael Myers.
Ben Tramer should have just stepped up. Damn it.
Yeah, like I said, this movie, I would have loved if the Corey story was a follow-up anthology, Halloween, The Rise of Corey Cunningham, or whatever you want to call it. and they put it on Netflix. It would have been great, but you wasted the 78 timeline and emasculated Myers to do nothing with that character. I cannot forgive that.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, I don't like the way they did this movie. RL Studio also says this movie was sonically and visually appealing given the time jump.
Yeah.
It didn't look like a Halloween film.
Not a lot happened
didn't
in
look-
4 years. I mean, from 2018 to 2022, not a lot is different. But however, I mean, yeah, if you break it down and like you said, to the film score and visually, I mean, I think I've got a playlist of stuff for the Haunted Cave, and I have the 1978, 1918, the 2018. Jesus Christ,
Ooh,
that would have been wild,
That's
right?
a timeline I don't know about yet. I didn't look that one up.
Hey, evil's always been around. Who knows? I mean, when did Star Trek really take place? Someone saw Shatner and was like, make a mask out of that. Make it so. Make it so. Anyway. Yeah, I have the 78, the 18, and the whatever the other one came out. I have those versions of the theme kills, yeah.
Right.
On that list. And I was kind of wondering, like, they've kind of done a different theme every time. So I'm kind of curious as to what it was. And when it kicked off, I was like, all right, I like this.
Right.
And then, cinematically and visually, yeah, I mean, it was cool. But story-wise, I mean, the main thing you think of a movie, the story. Where are you? The guy looking over the edge. Where are you?
I'm over here.
I'm over here. Yeah.
Nick from
That's Michael in the tunnel. I'm over here.
Nick from Lost River Drive-In chimes in. He says, no right or wrong answer here, but I dug the absolute shit out of it. Yeah, he's a big fan of this movie. Go check out Lost River Drive-In on YouTube. He's been talking about nothing but this movie for most of the last couple of weeks.
If you dig it, that's cool. I've said here, a couple times tonight, I'm a Rob Zombie Halloween guy, and I'm very much a minority in the Halloween fan base. So hey, if this is what you like, this your timeline, that's cool. I'm glad we have multiple ones, so we kind of each have our own version. It's all good.
I'll be closing the poll out here in just a few minutes. So anybody who wants to vote in that poll, go ahead. Right now, as I go look at it, it was pretty even. Right now, it's 50-50. So that's kind of
I'm a tie break it. Hold on.
that's kind of right about where we're all kind of at, sort of. But let's see. Lost River Drive also says, I've seen Michael chase this old broad around for 45 years. I didn't need the same thing over again. For the first time this trilogy, Gordon Green did his own thing, whether it worked for all or not.
Yeah, just like when Ryan Johnson did his own thing for Star Wars. Didn't we all love that?
Just going to say it. I don't know if I said it on the pre-show or on the live show, but Corey Cunningham is the Kylo Ren of the Halloween universe. So, yeah, I mean, it didn't work for me, but I mean, that's what sucks. I like David Gordon Green. He's a Texas dude. I wanted to support him. He was making Halloween films. I hate this film. It's just makes me violent.
I tilted your poll. You're welcome. I usually try to not vote because it feels kind of dirty if someone from the own show, the call's coming from inside the house. It feels kind of dirty if I do it, but I'm like, no, in this case.
I voted. I only voted once. I didn't log into my other 5 accounts to vote. I only voted once.
Look.
Are you going to pull a Casey and vote on your own poll, Frank? Is that what you're going to do?
I could have. I mean, I voted. I voted that I liked it ultimately. I mean, you guys vote the way you vote. I didn't vote 5 times. I voted 1 time.
I needed a medium option.
You did it the conservative way, not the Democrat way, and vote 15 times under dead people's names.
Yeah, that's kind of what I did. But RL Studio and Composition also says the main focal point of Halloween was the shape lurking with pure evil while searching for vulnerability. The movie ended with Laurie lurking. Evil changes shape and losing her vulnerability.
It's an interesting take on it.
I mean, he is right about that. I mean, even if you go back and watch when Laurie is writing her little manuscript or self-help book, whatever she's writing, she talks about that kind of stuff. But
to survive Halloween.
I just
don't burn the pie.
The main point of a Halloween film, yes. And is it repetitive? Of course. But you have to get Michael right. And if you go back to Halloween Kills, whether you like the movie or not, you can't argue that they got Michael good. They figured out a way to do that character awesome. And in this one, they wasted it. And to me, that's the ultimate defining feature is how well did you do the shape? And they get an F. I mean, there's no way around it for me.
Let's see. King Co chimes in. Thanks for coming to hang out with us tonight. I think you're new to the chat. He said Halloween Ends, the best movie in the franchise. Well, there's some people on the call right now that would disagree with you.
Bold strategy, Cotton. I don't think I can agree with you on that one.
And then I'm like, I don't know. Are you just trolling because you did put that in all caps? Just I don't know.
I think so. I smell some troll here, but hey, if that's how you really feel, rock on, dude. You got your movie. So.
JSP in chat says, saw this comment on Facebook. The skid marks on my underwear after gambling with a fart and losing would have told a better story than this movie. I'm demanding a refund. I didn't pay to see it.
Damn.
JSP, I'm with you on that one, dude. And I did pay to see it, unfortunately.
I don't think it was that bad. I mean, sure, it had some. Yeah, it had
still
some
a movie. I think
it's a movie. I didn't think it was that bad. Like I said, there was some ups and downs, some holes that I think I didn't like, but I mean it wasn't that bad. That's the King Co also says Laurie and Allison are the true antagonists in this film. Well, I mean,
then you got your little devil emoji. I think you're just trolling me.
But I mean that could be. Look, we're all the good guy in our own story. That's the old saying.
Fair.
So
but who was even the good guy in this story? Like, what?
We don't really know what Michael's motivations are. I mean, maybe he is walking around thinking these people are bad and I have to do this. I have to kill all these people because they're bad.
They never explained
what motivation is.
You just straight up killed his sister. Like, we never explained it, and that's what makes him terrifying.
Well, yeah, that's the point, because he's once again, what did Dr. Loomis say? He's purely and simply evil. Yeah. He has no motive. You don't know why he does any of this. He doesn't say a word. He is the embodiment of evil. He just does. Right. He's like the wind. Michael Myers is a force in nature. You know what I mean?
I know we mentioned the other Joker movie. We can mention Heath Ledger's like, I don't have a plan. I just do.
Yeah.
Right. He just does it. Yeah.
Right.
Like a dog chasing cars.
Let's see. Nick Kramer chiming in. Good to see you here. He says, watched it 3 times, still not a fan, and I'm a hardcore Michael fan.
Oof.
Yeah, see? Yeah. There you go.
Like
I mean, that's the thing.
That's what I'm saying. I could try to watch it again and maybe, I don't know.
Nope.
I could try to always give something a chance again. I don't know. But
I'm going to see it at least one more time because I had to watch it on Peacock because, getting ready to move and all that. I didn't have a chance to get to the theaters, but I want to go support the film financially and buy a ticket to it. But maybe the second viewing will change it. I don't know. But after you've watched it 3 times, if your opinion hasn't changed, you're probably where your opinion's going to be. and I value your opinion. Thank you very much, Nick. Like I said, I thought it was a decent enough movie. It had some stuff, but overall, I thought it was good.
Actually, whoever that is at Manic Movie Lovers just commented, said if we're talking about alternate endings, the mask laying on the table could have the Silver Shamrock emblem, and that would have been kind of cool. I'm like, yeah, that would have been a funny bomb.
That would have been cool. I would have welcomed that.
Because if this was supposed to be like Season of the Witch, and you've made, like I said, you made the font that blue same text. I'm like, you could have made a little hint and just had a little fun jab. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, go back to what I said earlier.
On the TV during the commercial of them watching the thing, that god awful stupid commercial comes on, or where the fuck that was.
Oh, I love that song. 10 more days till Halloween.
Yeah,
I love that. I had that as a ringtone in my phone.
Oh,
I love
God.
that.
No. That would have been a funny nod, too. I don't
know. Nick Kramer also says, it's not worth watching in the theater. Save your money and watch it on Peacock, or just watch Halloween 2018 or Halloween Kills.
Vic, you're a smart man.
Well, I say support the movie. Remember, you're not just supporting the actors. You're supporting the hundreds, if not thousands, of people who worked to get the movie made. So it's not just about getting the money to the people who made the movie. You're supporting all the people that put the work on this. This is one of the reasons why I continue to go to theaters. I will always go to theaters because you're not just supporting the people whose names show up first in the credit. You're also supporting the people whose names come in the boneyard section of the credits, the part that comes later on, and all the other names who most people don't watch. So I say go give it some love. I mean, if you're going to support it with your time, you may as well support it with your dime as well. You know what I mean? Let's see. King Co also says, how would you all feel if Michael said something while he was crucified in Laurie's kitchen? I don't know. He's never spoken that I know of.
The only time he spoke was in Rob Zombie's Halloween 1. Well, as a child, he spoke in Rob Zombie's Halloween 1. And then at the end of Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, when he hasn't spoken in 15 years, he yells, die, as he stabs Loomis and then gets shot to death. That's the only time he's ever spoken. But that's a very different iteration of the character. It's not the shape from 1978. It's a different version. So, yeah.
I think it's better off that he doesn't speak. I think there's something about the silence.
Yeah.
Would ruin.
It makes this version should never speak. I wouldn't want to hear it.
It works for a guy like Freddy because part of what scares you about a guy like Freddy Krueger
is the one-liner. Yeah.
He's not just going to hack you up. He's going to say something funny or scary while he's doing it. You know, but
he is psychological. He is going to start fucking with you.
Yeah, he's trying to get into your head. I mean, he's in your dreams after all. He's trying to get into your head. It's not just the idea of killing you. It's the idea of making you anticipate it and feel that fear that also does it for him. But yeah, I don't think he should have spoken either. I think that would have been a terrible
waste. And then, you get some big hulking dude like Jason who doesn't also speak. That's just terrifying.
Yeah,
because he's just this big motherfucker going through the woods, and it's like, oh crap, you know.
Manic Movie Lover in the chat on YouTube. Thanks for coming and hanging out with us. He says, I don't know if you guys have seen the alternate end to Halloween Ends, but the mask lying on the table has got the silver shamrock emblem in it. That would have been cool if they would have went for that. You were just talking about it a minute ago, right, Jeremy?
Yeah, I saw it just pop up. I was like, that would have been kind of funny if they did that little.
I heard the alternate ending that I heard was the final fight ends in a funeral home. And they put Michael in the crematorium machine, and it's Allison and Laurie are there. And as the shape is burning, like Michael and Laurie look into each other's eyes, he's still wearing the mask, but Laurie starts to go evil, and she starts to choke Allison, and she's like, get out of here while I still something. I don't know. I haven't heard that alternate ending. I would have to look that up, but I would be interested to see that if that's real.
Well, then again, what about Corey? Where'd you go?
Right. Well, because Corey's a throwaway character that they just threw in to take 90 minutes out of this film that should have been on Michael and Laurie.
Had to leave. Did a lot of work for someone to just throw him away.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's a joke.
For someone to throw a knife into his own neck. That was weird.
Right. He had to go home.
Manic Movie Lovers also says, if they would have done the alternate ending with the silver shamrock, Dave should have had Tom Hanks. Just kidding.
Well, see, there's actually an Easter egg. Well, it's not a direct Easter egg, but if you go back and watch Halloween 3, Tom Atkins is kind of that ladies' man doctor, right? What did we have in this movie? The doctor was sleeping with the nurse. Same thing that Tom Atkins did in Halloween 3. So I felt like that was I mean, now, you know, they never called him Dr. Chalice or anything, but you know, it was kind of the same character. I did notice that.
Yeah. See, King Co also says Tom Atkins should have played Dr. Mathis.
Yeah.
yeah. It would have been great to see Dr. Chalice back, you know, slapping nurses on the butt, drinking all the time. That Tom Atkins is a legend. I mean, dude's great in Halloween 3. He makes the movie.
I don't know how they would have done it, but it's like if they still had the joke of like the bed sheet over him and then, you know, then put her on the wall. I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
The little fucking glasses on the outside.
Right.
I'm going to go ahead and end the poll where it's at. Thank you to everybody who took the time to vote. And it looks like Jeremy and Tech swooped in there at the last second and swayed it.
No.
Smart people.
What do you think of Halloween Ends? 60% of you said thumbs down. 40% of you said thumbs up. I was one of the people who said thumbs up. I didn't think the movie was all that bad. But I think it was worth watching. I'll go watch it again in theaters because I want to support it. I want to support the people that worked hard to get it made. And I didn't think it was that terrible of a movie. Then, you know, the theater experience is always the best way to see a movie. So go to the theaters, everybody. But yeah, I think that's a pretty good place to start wrapping things up. Thank you to everybody who came in and hung out with us tonight. A lot of people came in in the last half hour, 40 minutes. Thank you to all you guys that came in. Hopefully you guys like what you saw. You stick around and give us the subscribes and all. But let's go around and say goodbye to all of my amazing co-hosts. No Lady Cora tonight. I don't think she got a chance to watch the movie, or maybe she didn't. She had a sick dog. She had a sick dog.
Yeah, something about the dog got sick or something.
Hopefully
Cora's dog's okay.
But I want to throw a lot of credit to Cora. She is not a big fan of horror movies, and she said she stayed up late to watch this one night. So not only did she give a horror movie a try, which she's been doing a lot lately, she actually did with all the lights off at night. Props to you, Lady Cora. She'll be back the next time we do any of our normal streams. I'm sure she'll be back. Let's start with the Brooding Gamer. What do you got going on the internet, my man?
Oddly enough, I think you guys may like this, or at least some of you. I have, because, big Jurassic Park channel. I started doing an entire park in my game dedicated to Hollywood and mythological creatures, cryptids.
Oh, cool.
Cute little Halloween thing. Most recent episode was Indominus Rex, Frankenstein exhibit. So I'm actually in the process of recording. Actually, it's uploading as we speak. A Michael Myers Indoraptor, because they had a black body with a white face. So I was like, "Yep, there's Michael." So I am. That's kind of there. It's kind of hard to do Halloween content on a dinosaur themed channel.
So you can't tell me that there's Xenosaurus. Them finger knives, man. He's looking like he's either Freddy Krueger or like Edward Scissorhands or something.
Yeah. But got that, and then I actually just started up a second channel because I needed something, and just started doing a Pokemon channel, which again can't really do Halloween. So yay, we'll figure it out.
Link to the Brooding Gamer is in the description down below. Go check him out. And then of course the Shape from the Lone Star State, my man Tex. What do you got going on the internet right now, my man?
Oh, not much. That'd be at @SlasherVision on Twitter. Names there on the screen. I post horror stuff. I don't do a lot on Twitter, but hey, come follow me. We send funny memes and whatever back and forth. It's all good. Other than that, you'll find me here talking movies and all the fun things, and it's about it. So yeah, I hope everybody has a happy Halloween and go watch a good Halloween film. Not this one. So.
Happier Halloween. Happier than all the cherry blossoms in the world.
Yeah, go get some cherry blossoms and watch Halloween 4. Not this one. There you go.
And it looks like we lost Brooding Gamer, so we got him wrapped up just in time. But now to our channel's power couple, to Rachel and Jeremy. What do you guys got going on the internet?
Instead of Better Love Story Than Twilight, a Better Love Story Than Halloween Ends. Shit.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Well, I was streaming on Twitch at Tin Septum. I was doing Saints Row 5. I've kind of stopped that for right now, just because it's cave season.
It's spooky season.
But from the money I'm earning from the cave, I'm going to be building a PC, and then I'm going to start doing Sims content, probably on Twitch. I'm also over on Twitter at Tin Septum. I am occasionally reposting memes most of the time, so you can find me there.
Yeah, you'll.
I didn't have Rachel's Twitter or Brooding Gamer's Twitter ready for that, so that's why I didn't have theirs up. But hey, yeah, go find them on Twitter.
Yeah, and you'll make money faster than I will. So
we'll see.
It's gonna be fun.
We'll see.
Oh no, I can see into the future. I'm fucking. That's so Raven. You're gonna do the little zoom in, zoom out. I don't think we can use that theme. It's probably copyrighted.
Probably.
Anyway, yeah, you see my name down there. It's Scum Tuesday 23. It's on every single thing. So, I say every single thing as if I use every single thing I have it for. I don't. But Twitter, is probably the best place to, I guess, find any updates, any sort of scheduling or any sort of retweets, usually from Frank, like when we're doing this show, which that's what we're doing Thursdays or whenever we can now, since life's kind of been throwing crap at us left and right.
Right.
But yeah, like I said, it'll be there. And also obviously doing the show whenever something like this comes out where we need a whole show dedicated to one movie, because holy crap. Yeah. I'm in the same boat as you.
Mhm.
Like it's
Spooky season.
it's spooky season. I love spooky season, but my problem is I'm like, I
We're
want to.
working.
I know we're working twice as much now, so like I just want to enjoy spooky season, my favorite season, with my favorite person. So
Aw.
that's I know.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So
Now, are you
I'm like,
talking about the dog or her? Which one are you talking about?
oh, you didn't hear that? Cover your ears, child.
Aw.
Well, the messed up thing is, I think this dog likes me more than she likes her. That's
Yeah,
that's kinda messed-
accurate,
and that's your dog of
unfortunately.
12
this
years.
Is my dog.
That's messed up. Thomas, run off with your dog. Yeah. So I kind of fell off on doing streaming or any sort of YouTube stuff, but once Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 comes out at the end of this month. That's kind of more of a streamy game, so I mean I'll get right back into that. And again, since I'll have the time, it comes out conveniently. I think that last weekend of the haunt, so I can stream again Tuesdays doing Modern Warfare 2. You can come see me how bad I suck at playing Call of Duty, but that means I'm not actually a cheater. I said what I said. You know who you are. But I think I might kind of scrap and redo The Last of Us because I think I actually want to record that and actually have it fixed.
Yeah, I want to watch that before the show comes out.
Yeah, because I'm like, I want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to do that so we can do the show as well. And
We definitely need to review that Last of Us. Whether it's here on the show or do a special thing or whatever, I think that'd be kind of cool to review those episodes too. Though. I'm down for that.
And since my weird kind of format is, I'm like, I'll play through a game, and then like I thought about on YouTube starting out my own thing, kind of like what we do here, but do it for video games.
Right.
So I can. It's like you can watch my full playthrough of a game, and then like I'll give you a quick like here's my, would I recommend it or not? Kind of review of a game. So, and I don't know where Brooding Gamer went, but I've had some ideas I pitched out to him. One of which actually you can't see it back there, but my Eddie Munson vest is almost done. So I'll leave that there.
That's going to be awesome when it comes around.
I had a really good idea, and I'm like, yeah, it'd be cool if I just like climbed on my roof and just rocked the hell out. Wouldn't that be funny?
Take an amp and a guitar up there and just start wailing.
I will do. I'm like, I was like, I need. I'm going to ruin it now. I was like, I need you as your Alan Grant character to be Dustin and just plug it in and be like, go. And I don't know what I'm going to do. And then maybe he could be like looking for a dinosaur, like one of his little reviews, like, where is it? Instead of looking for, the bats. It'd be funny. As I'm like distracting the dinosaur with, Master of Puppets. I don't know. I might get copyrighted, but I mean, whatever.
Worth it.
It's worth it.
You can have the money. Yeah. This video is awesome.
Andy, this is for you.
Right. I can see it now.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And as for me, you can find me usually here on Thursday nights doing my thing. Not so much on Derailed right now since he's pretty much switched over to gaming for a little while, but that's cool. We'll eventually be back over on Derailed at some point. But again, content on here is going to be a little thin for the next couple of weeks. Right now, I'm really wanting to do a video tomorrow, to do a live stream tomorrow, but I'm still not sure if I'm going to have the time to do that yet or not. I'm going to try it. I'll know sometime tomorrow morning if I'll be able to pull it off. But if not, there may not be another regular show on here until probably the 15th of next month. Well, no, probably before that. But as soon as I get moved into the new place, one of the first things I'm going to do is at least get the computer and the desk set up, so it might not have any of the stuff in the background to go with. But we will get back on here and start doing some videos as soon as possible. The next couple of weeks, there's going to be not so much content coming out of here because I am in the middle of moving from one house to another, and that takes time. That takes a lot. So thank you guys very much for coming to hang out with me tonight. Thank you to Brooding Gamer, who I'm guessing his phone died. That's something that's happened to him a couple times when he's been on here. Thank you to Jeremy and Rachel for coming in. Rachel is always welcome. She never has to ask to be on here. She just needs to show up. Her and Cora both class up the place. Thank you to my man Tex from down south for coming in and banging this out. One of the things I may have to do once I get settled in is I may have to get you and Nick on here and have a good debate on Halloween Ends.
Oh, I will school Nick. I don't know you, but bring it on. I will school you, son.
As soon as we saw him down there, I was like, bring him on the show. I want to see this.
I will throw the gauntlet down. I'll challenge you.
Let's have a talk. You mean throw the mask down? I don't know.
I could moderate that one. I didn't I didn't love the movie as much as him. I didn't hate it as much as you guys. I'm very much in the middle, but it'd be interesting to hear you guys go back and forth.
I hate watch this thing 5 times. I had 3 full pages of notes that I took for this thing that I boiled down because I knew I wouldn't have 24 hours to talk about it on the internet. So I'm ready. Let's do this stuff. So
a couple of real quick things in the chat before we get out of here. Nick Kramer says, "What was Michael doing for those 4 years between movies, and what kills did we miss?" Michael Coe says that he was suffering from COVID-19 and monkeypox. So,
well, I mean, he was dragging homeless people in there, and what he did to them was never answered. So we don't know. I mean, don't ask, don't tell, right? So it's all good.
We really do not know. But anyway, thank you again, all of you, for coming in and hanging out with us. We very much appreciate it. We will be back again on here soon. Again, the next couple of weeks are going to be a little shady, but we will be back on here again soon, doing our regular thing on Thursdays. We very much appreciate you guys for coming and hanging out with us. Over 3 hours. I expected to go about 2, but man, there was a whole lot to be said, and I'm pretty sure if I just left the cameras on, that Jeremy and Tex would probably go for another at least hour or so by themselves. But
I'd be going to bed. So.
we all have real lives. We
got to work tomorrow. Damn it!
Right. Yeah.
Thank you to my great co-host for coming and hang out with me tonight. Thank you to all of you for hanging out with us. We very much appreciate it, and we'll see you guys later on. Adios.
Bye.
See y'all later.